They're like cutting the head off a chicken with like something laid out on the ground, and whatever the chicken lands on is like what they're gonna do. Like they don't know how to make up their own fucking mind. They're like,
you could have just said they threw a dart at a board. Why did you go?
Bizarre.
Kyle, leave him
Where the
alone.
fuck did that come from?
He has his own analogy.
It's like
Oh
it's like
my
cutting the head
God.
off of a chicken and then waiting to see what direction the giraffe farts with a lollipop.
Don't talk about giraffes.
Wasn't that sound more interesting though?
Oh
And
my
then,
gosh.
and then there's a bathtub full of brightly colored power tools.
All right, Shawn. Is there something you want to talk about now?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of the Thought Patrol podcast. We are joined by Caitlyn,
Hey.
Tyler,
What's up, guys?
and Shawn over Discord,
Ain't nothing but a G thing.
G-string.
and your host Kyle as well.
And G string, yes. Damn
Yeah,
it.
G-string.
Missed the opportunity. You were totally right, Tyler.
Yeah. So, we have all come back to bring you another beautiful episode this week. And we're going to go ahead and start with introductions as always. See how everyone's week has been. How you doing, Caitlyn? How's everything been going?
I had a really busy week, actually, for once in my life. So it's been pretty crazy.
That's good. Getting on up there, moving into adulthood.
Yeah, I got a car.
We talked about
And-
that.
Yay!
And I went to an interview yesterday.
Yay!
Yay! So I'm just moving right along.
That's where it's at.
All right, Caitlyn's she's finally doing it.
Finally.
If you got a car, you can go anywhere now.
Exactly.
Literally.
How about you, Tyler? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. As you guys all know now, with you guys standing here in the room and Shawn on the other side, but I was trying to really keep the excitement and announce it this podcast, but of course I couldn't. And I joined the PlayStation community and got myself a PlayStation 4.
The master race.
Yes, so thank you guys for welcoming me into the
Nice.
community. So I got a few games I started playing, and still getting used to a lot of things, but I'm kind of catching on pretty quick, and I'm liking it. So woohoo! And I can probably do some more stuff with you guys as time goes on, get some more games, and get back into like those good old days when we used to
good
play.
old
My
days.
voice just cracked there. Yeah, those Goji days. So yeah, man.
That's cool. That's cool. I heard you've been, or I've seen you've been playing Until Dawn. How do you like that?
I actually just finished it. That was one of the it was a pretty quick game, or I just played the crap out of it really quickly.
It's pretty
I don't even know how many
quick.
hours
Doesn't take
I put
too
in. Yeah, I played it in like a day and a half maybe. It was good. I only lost one character, Matt, who was the jock.
The asshole.
The asshole. No, he was like the nice guy.
No.
His girlfriend was the asshole. Like they even.
They were all assholes.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the
Except
choice.
Sam.
Depends on the choices you made. But no, I actually didn't know how to save him because I was still I was trying to save his girlfriend from dying a few times, and apparently if you
Is that
keep
the Asian
trying-
chick?
Yeah, who's like the main bitch in the out of the group. And apparently, if you keep trying to save her, I mean, eventually you're gonna like you jump off a ledge or whatever and like to save
Yeah.
yourself, and then she falls, and you don't know what happens to her until like later on in the game. But you and same thing with you too, and like, you're like, oh, what the heck happened? And next thing you know, like you're automatically dead, I guess, because of the choices you make. You just end up, you just wake up, you walk down the hall, and then you get picked up by this thing, and then it just like launches you into this chain like hook or something like that, like right through your throat and out your mouth. Like, man, you just got gutted like a fish. Like it was pretty intense. I was like, whoa, that's awesome. But then I was like, oh, I wonder what would happen. Like, what could I have done to save like that? Because I didn't want to lose any more characters. My first playthrough, I wanted to keep everyone alive, but obviously that's really hard because every decision you make in that game is like life or death. Because the theme is the butterfly effect. So something you do at any point in the game can definitely have huge effects toward the end, and that's exactly what happened. But I saved everyone else though, so that was pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it again, but I'm gonna like be an asshole and like try to get as many people killed as quickly as possible.
That's exactly what I wanted to do.
See, like I just want to see the different cutscenes.
That's what I'm
You're
doing.
trying to do that.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god.
It doesn't take long.
And what you were
I think
saying.
there's only
yeah.
one death you can't prevent, right? If I remember correctly, the rest of them are all preventable.
Yeah, you get a save. I think there's
it's-
8 characters, 7 or 8 characters, and I think it's 7 you get the save. The 8th is who's the brother of the 2 sisters that died. He's the one you can't save.
Josh, I think.
Josh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, he
stuff.
might. I don't know.
Isn't
No,
he the killer?
he dies regardless. It's either he turns it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying any spoilers. Sorry.
It's the
Well, no,
game's
that's-
old
the
or
game-
past.
been
Well,
out for
it's either
like-
he turns into a
he turns into a Wendigo,
or
yeah.
he dies. Like he actually gets killed.
Yeah, he gets killed by his own sister too, who is a Wendigo.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how that happens. But no, he got saved, and then it like I guess the Wendigo bit him and left him for dead or whatever. But like then he just I guess feasted on because like you turn to a Wendigo by eating by
flesh.
reverting to cannibalism.
Yeah.
And then like the Wendigo spirit
See,
takes you.
I didn't
yeah.
know any of that. I just thought it was a slasher game. I haven't played it yet.
The
So
game is so good.
It is good, right?
10 out
I
of
was so
10.
happy when I
Would
got it.
recommend.
Yeah, it's a good.
So good.
It's a good. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a system seller, but
Wasn't it
it's
some
No,
kind of
no,
horror,
absolutely not. But
heavy
No, but
kind of thing.
it is. It's kind of horror.
It's
kind
based. It's based off of cliche horror movies, like the
Yeah.
tropes and stuff like that, like the way how certain characters act, how they
like
get
a-
killed.
like a cabin in the woods kind of thing,
That's
but not as
exactly-
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so just real quick, I finished that, and then with the PlayStation, it came with because I actually got it through Amazon, and it was through Prime Day, and it was a Prime Day special. It gave me The Last of Us Remastered, which I get to play, and that is
That's awesome.
that is a console
That's
seller
a
right
console
there.
seller. Well, that
That's-
was on PS3, but
yeah, but I mean, so the remastered version. I don't know if they did that for the 3, but
that was for 4. The remaster was for PS4.
exactly. So I really want to get a PlayStation because of that, and well, here I am now having one.
And now you have Uncharted 2. Right?
Yeah. Well, Uncharted 4 as well. Yes.
Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you say 2?
You need to play the other 3.
Yeah.
They're really good.
I think there's
2 is excellent.
I think there's some sort of like sale for like a combination of the games. I think no.
Well, yeah, they did a remaster of the first
Yeah.
3.
Is that what it is? Like
After you
the Nathan
finish
Drake
the
collection, isn't
Uncharted,
that
you
what it's
need to
called?
play the 2. Have you played the new Tomb Raiders? The 2 of them?
Yes, I played the first one, which
They're
actually
right up
came
there
with when
with
I
the
with my
Uncharted
when I got my
games.
Xbox One. They came with that one, so very cinematic. I think I was talking to you about that, Kyle, about the Tomb Raider games, and no, I was talking to someone else about it. I can't remember who. But yeah, I mean, I'd never played a Tomb Raider game before, and like after playing that one, it was the 2014 or 15. It was like the revamp of the series.
Something like
The
that.
reboot.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
It's been
that was pretty
revamped a
good.
few times, but the one where they rebooted it, where she's less of a sex symbol and more of just a capable badass, and she's younger.
Yeah, it's like before she's
Yeah.
known as the Laura Croft that she is. The
Yeah.
huge. Yeah.
It was more of a gun game previously with some puzzles and shit, but more like a dexterity based gun game, and now it's more along the lines of what they did with Drake.
Really? Oh, I'm fairly excited to play Uncharted 4 now and the rest.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Uncharted's
That's
good.
awesome.
I'm hearing it's a great series.
Well, the first one's kind of
It
a
is.
trudge, but that's just because it's old.
Yeah.
Even if they remaster it, it's still old. You could see that when you play it. But 2 was one of my favorite games of the series. I haven't played 4 yet. I'm working on it.
Nice.
I recently beat 3. They're good games. Very good games. Again, the Naughty Dog games are system sellers, damn straight. And also, you got to get into that Bloodborne, too. That's the
Dude,
where I
dude.
bought a PS4 in the first place.
Are you
was
serious?
Bloodborne.
I mean, like,
yeah.
I definitely considered. I was like, I actually looked at it. I was at Walmart the other day, and I was like, I should
Excellent
get it
game.
now. Well, who knows?
It's still my favorite
I'm
among the Dark
finishing-
Souls.
I'm finishing Dark Souls 3. Well, I'm just started Dark Souls 3, so I'm going to beat that, then get Bloodborne. So, I'm going to take a break after 3 because I know I'm going to want to break something. I'm not going to delve right into Bloodborne.
Yeah, Bloodborne
will
is
make
hard
you
as shit.
Be angry at everything.
But
Yeah.
finishing 2, Dark Souls 2, because I had the Scholar of the First Sin version, and it's like they say it's the hardest out of the whole Soul series. So
It is. Yeah.
Hopefully,
Which one?
Dark Souls 2,
2.
the Scholar of the First Sin. I guess it's like remastered or whatever, and they like change a bunch of stuff around. Like they put all the hard enemies in the beginning of the game, rather than it just kind of having it spaced out easier to where you're not getting killed as much. Or well, I mean, you are getting just murks relentlessly. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to play that. But so how about you, Shawn? How are you? How's your week?
I'm good.
He's
Perfect.
good. All
I've
right,
just
cool.
been playing it. Yeah, I'm good. That's it. Yeah, no, I work's really shitty and making me hate life. and be
pretty much
disappointed
what
in all
work's designed to
existence.
do.
Right.
This is extra shitty. This isn't just like I hate my job. It's more like
this isn't your everyday shittiness.
It's advanced shittiness.
yeah, this is extraordinary shittiness, but I'm not going to go into it. I have been having fun with Final Fantasy 14 still, a lot, and I've been enjoying some of Fortnite, and that's just about it, really. Reworking a resume, and getting wheels, and solving world peace and hunger. Oh, I did find a video where in Thailand and also in Southern California, they are now making penis-shaped cakes, which people are eating.
I've seen a video of that. I thought it was just a joke, but like someone was gonna go blow out the candle, and they'd have their mouth over the penis cake, and then they go and shove it down their throat as like they're about to blow out the candle. I was like, whoa, that is savage.
It's kind of hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just stick
That's a
right in your
choking
mouth.
hazard. I mean, you have cake in your mouth you have several inches of cake in your mouth too. So not only is it like a terrible joke.
A foot of cake in your mouth.
Oh yeah.
That's a lot.
Are you good?
Is it chocolate cake then? If it's a foot.
Yeah.
Chocolate.
Yeah, it is. It's chocolate cake.
They have it covered in chocolate, and then they've got another version where they drizzle that clear white fucking frosting shit right all over the tip, and then drip it down the shit. Oh god, dude!
Wait.
Whoa, Shawn,
I wasn't
really
entirely
imagining
listening. How do they hide a dick-shaped object into a cake? You said they hide it in the cake?
They have it's like a waffle iron, but they put the
it's
cake
just a
batter
straight
in the
up
waffle iron,
dick-shaped.
then they close it, and the cake forms inside of a cock mold.
That reminds me of something I saw where it was like a decent, like almost wedding-sized cake, and someone put a dildo inside of it and covered the top of it with frosting. And when the dude went to go blow out the candles, he shoved his head into the cake. And when the dude brought his head back, the dildo was like deep throated into his throat.
No.
That poor person.
What are the odds of you getting the exact perfect angle to force a rubber cock in someone's throat?
And the song was like, I don't know. I think it was like, I don't remember the name of the song. It was like something, Am I Only Human or some shit like that. I don't remember the name of the song. It was funny as hell. Yeah. I agree with Shawn. Been enjoying Final Fantasy 14. I like Fortnite a lot. I've been playing a lot of Fortnite. The Destiny 2 beta has come around.
That's right.
We've all dabbled in Destiny 2 a bit. There's not much to do with the beta. I mean, it is a beta, so you get a little bit of a check at the multiplayer. I like the changes that they've done to the PvP. It's nice to see that they're actively making it more of a fair experience as to prior, where it was kind of frustrating the way it was before. But I think they're making good changes moving forward. I'm excited to see what the actual full release entails. I like the way they're going with it. I know there's some things. There's some things that they've simplified that people have complained about with the subclasses and stuff. But me and Tyler were speculating today that if they'll probably introduce a third subclass, and it will be something entirely new, hopefully, based on the third element. So didn't
they show them early on? There's like a shield and a.
Well, those are here already. I'm talking about another new one, because they
were in the concept art.
You get Dawnblade, which is the Warlock's new fire one, where they summon the sword that throws like waves of fire. They have I don't remember what the hunter one is, but they have like the staff that's lightning. Those are all there, and the Captain America one for the Titan is there, but we only have 2 currently. So they might be working on a new subclass for further down the road. I don't know how they're going to do it. If they're going to do the same thing they did in Destiny 1, where they introduced it as a DLC or what, I have no clue. But yeah, it's exciting to see with Destiny kind of around the corner. That's the next major release we have for fall coming up.
Real quick, the beta ends tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
it ends on it ends after Sunday, so it ends on Monday.
Oh, okay, because I have yet to actually download it and play it. And I wanted to try a little bit of it at least. Can you run by like what else did they change in the PvP that was different from the first?
Well, the
Destiny?
thing that the major changes is they, instead of having shotguns and snipers as secondaries are now referred to as power weapons, along with rocket launchers and other stuff like that. So you can't
have power, you have kinetic, and you have energy weapons.
Yeah. And now the way they work
and the
is
energy are equal to each other instead of instead of one backing up the other. You just kind of decide which ones you want to use.
so basically
Power replaces the heavy weapons.
so kinetic energies just do flat unaspected damage. They just do damage.
Yeah.
The energy weapons have a element connected to them, and the pool of weapons that those fit to is sidearm, hand cannon, scout rifle, auto rifle, pulse rifle, and submachine gun, which they added, which is new.
Cool.
And the power weapons,
yeah.
the power weapons are shotguns, snipers, rocket launcher, grenade launchers, stuff like that. And so they also inform you now if someone has loaded a power weapon. So if someone loads their shotgun, it will tell you shotgun loaded from the enemy team at this point.
Oh,
so you
I
know,
like that. I
so
love
you
that.
know that someone's running around with a shotgun. You won't turn a corner
now-
and have someone ass blast you
Yeah.
because.
Now I can prepare to like break my controller when that happens.
Well, yeah, you have more.
Well in advance.
It's much more. They're trying to go for a more competitive route where it's more everyone's on this kind of the same playing field somewhat, and I think they're taking good moves in that. And also, they've changed it where like for the more competitive. Well, they've changed the game where grenades and energy or like melees, you cannot change their recharge rates. So everyone has like a flat recharge rate for their grenades and melees and stuff
Yeah,
like
'cause
that.
Some abilities allowed you
That
to
I don't like.
recharge stuff faster, right?
Yeah, some abilities will, like the hunter, when he dodges, it will recharge his melee.
Yeah, or if you hit
so
someone,
it depends
like,
on your class, and they might have like weapons and armors that give you another melee back instantly. But there's no changing the timers now. The armor, the way the aspects that they go to is they directly affect your resilience, mobility, and I don't remember what the third one was, recovery. So the armors now are designed to. So when you're changing pieces of armor, you have to look more into what am I changing with my stats, as well as if the armor is better or not, or what it looks like and stuff like that. So
Cool. What which for the beta, what game variants were there? Was it just like Team
for the
Death,
beta,
or
they have a form of domination where you hold 3 points, and then as you hold points, if you get a kill, that kill will be worth more points depending on how many areas of the map is held, which is called control. And then you have the competitive mode, which is a countdown, which is basically search and destroy. So, and then they have the strike that they showed off at the premiere for Destiny 2. That one with like the drill and all that stuff and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a decent amount of stuff. They have a loot pool, so you can acquire loot. You could get a bunch of different guns. You can get like I think there's 3 sets of armor that you can acquire, not including your default one. And so there's a decent amount of stuff to do there. It's just, I mean, it's a beta, so it's not. It's they don't want to make the same mistake that they did with the first one, where they had a lot of the game available in the beta alone, like at jump. So they're holding off the patrols and stuff at least until the full game releases.
Mm-hmm. So you think? Oh, you already pre-ordered it, correct?
It is pre-ordered.
Yeah. What about you, Shawn?
He got
sadly.
he
Yes,
got
I
into the
pre-ordered
beta.
it. I think I was
He got
the first
closed
one.
beta, so it's pre-ordered.
Gotcha. See, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna play. As whenever I download it, I want to play as much as I can, and then wait for the release, September, whenever it was, and then
I think the 11th.
Yeah, and then I'll just kind of do my own research from there and see if I really want to like delve into it, because I don't know, I'm not too fond of those kind of grinding games. Although I did enjoy playing the first one, but I was a year 1 player, but I stopped before taking King, and then apparently after is when they fixed a lot of issues.
Yeah,
I did that with the next DLC releases that they had. But
see, the thing with the Destiny and people that have looked at Destiny 2 is a lot of people that are mad at Destiny 1 stop playing within the first 2 years, right before like the heavier changes came out, and then they're looking at this now and they're like, oh, this looks like vanilla Destiny, blah blah blah, and they're giving shit at Destiny. It's very polarizing because there's because a lot of their player base fell out after the first, and I can understand because the first year, I mean, there's a lot of people that like first year, but a lot of people didn't like first year. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of content. There wasn't a lot there. A lot of it was behind a paywall.
The third year, man, they did a lot, but they still didn't do enough to make up for anything. I mean, it was all too little, too late, or not enough. What they did do was nice, but it just wasn't. There's no way when you start off bad, you can't fix it without raising it to the ground, like they had to do with Final Fantasy XIV when it started. It was good for Final Fantasy diehards, but for anyone else, it was hot garbage. And they had a guy come in and completely wipe it out and start it over. And you couldn't do that with Destiny. So they if you start off in the wrong place, no matter how hard you try and course correct, you're still aimed in the wrong direction. So you can only bend back toward where you were trying to go. You're not going to get to where you were trying to go. It's just not going to happen. And because of the fuck up between Activision and Bungie and all the shit that went down there was no fixing Destiny. This should have been the fix, but I don't think it's going to be. I think you're just going to get an expansion on the original game, and you either like it or you don't like it. What I like is they fixed a lot of mechanics. The controls are sharper. You have I noticed a lot of difference just using the Hunter with the jumps, and you have a lot more control in the jumping, and it's a lot easier aiming in the air now. I don't know why, but I was actually a lot more effective in the air than I was in the original. So I like that, but I don't think it's going to be a huge improvement over 1. I don't think that at all from what I played. I'm probably going to end up buying it anyway because the guys are buying it. We're all going to want to play together, so it is what it is.
I mean, I think
but I'm not impressed.
One of the reasons behind Destiny as well is that if you were to look at maybe the initial launch of Destiny to where it is today, it's a huge improvement. But the way Destiny has been kind of changing over the years, it's been like an evolving beast because like a lot of people, I think the best way to say kind of what's happened with Destiny as a whole, like Destiny's story, is that like Destiny 1 was kind of like the beta for Destiny 2, kind of. And I've heard a lot of people say that, and I think
that is a shitty way to put that game. You just drill that game into the ground.
Well, I know, but still, like that's kind of like the idea, and that kind of makes the most sense, I'd say, because Destiny has constantly been changing over the years. They've been making things different, and they've been applying things. They've been kind of trying to create a story around the world that they've built, because a lot of it got lost from the initial release. It's just, again, a bunch of shit during development. But they've been kind of trying to build their world, trying to do things to make it better, trying to make it where there's more content available. But again, like Shawn said, it was shit from the get-go. So the problem is it's slowly been evolving into what they've wanted to be. And now with Destiny 2 coming out, it's kind of like them saying, okay, we're finally at kind of an idea of where we want to be. We're making a cinematic story. We're working on giving you guys more content, more open areas for you to explore with your friends, trying to keep everything more relevant for longer, so it's not just you do something and then it's out of the way, you never go back to it kind of stuff. So we got to see what they're going to do. I enjoyed every second I played, but I played Destiny starting on Taken King. So I was after the initial bullshit that happened, so I didn't have any sour feelings from the get-go. But going forward, I'm excited to see what they do with it because I really enjoyed everything I did with Destiny from year 3 on. So I'm excited to see what they do with it. But then again, like I said, I didn't have that sour feeling from the start. So, well, I'm glad you all are doing good. That will be our intro, I guess. And we're going to go ahead and move on to the podcast. I'm glad you all were able to join me.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Kyle, did you explain how your day was or how your week has been?
Well, I played Fortnite. That's about it. That didn't work and doing shit. So yeah.
How was that? Just real quick. I heard you talk about that game a little bit, and then I saw a little
There's like
gameplay. It looks
complicated.
A huge slap in the face. Not in a bad way, but like a good way, because I didn't expect it at all to be as awesome as it was, and I really enjoy it.
So you were like, slap me again?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Harder, daddy. Yeah, pretty much. It's good. I like it.
You know how like those a decent mobile game still has way too many menus and way too many sub menus, and they don't really go in depth to explain a lot, and they force you to go through a 3-hour long tutorial. It's a lot like that, but the payoff makes it worth it.
It was 2 missions, Shawn. It was like a 30-minute tutorial, if even.
Dude, I'm on like my 5th mission or 8th mission or something like that, and they're still giving me tutorial stuff.
Yeah, I'm still getting shit, but that's called progression, not a tutorial, mister. They taught you everything you need to know in the first 2 missions.
When it completely unlocks and the game's wide open, that's when I'm going to be really interested to see where it goes. I like it, but it's got a lot of complications in it. Like it's complicated. It's not simple. It's not something like you pick up and dive in. Like there's a lot of paying attention and experimenting with your menus and fucking up with certain things while you're trying to figure out how it works, because you're allocating different workforce while you're like, you have defenders, and then you've got support crew, and you're trying to figure out who to level up and what to level up, and then figuring out what's in your inventory, because you get a shitload of what are they called, blueprints. You get a shitload of blueprints, but you don't necessarily have all of that in your inventory. There's a lot of complicated stuff in it. It's a lot to bite off, but I think it's worth it. It's fun. And I think the cooperative, you really need that cooperative element, because even on the simpler missions, when you're trying to do something by yourself and your partners are off dicking around just farming materials, you can get overrun pretty quickly.
Yeah. I've yet to have anything where it was like super difficult, where I died a lot, but I did start with like a decent hero, because a lot of it, everything has kind of like a gear score to it, Tyler.
Yeah.
And you do missions, but like the first like 20 missions you do are like rank 3 and 5, and you get like a hero that's like 17 off the bat. So you're pretty strong right off the bat, but eventually it'll lead into more difficult areas. Yeah, it's fun. It's got again, it's like pseudo open world, because they drop you in this huge map and you run around, and there's multiple objectives to do. There's areas to explore. The exploration is really good. It's got a really nice art style to it. The design of the architecture is cool. It's like very cartoony kind of. I don't know what like the buildings have like slants in their architecture. Not on the outside, but on the inside. Like furniture will be slanted, kind of like. I'm trying to think. I don't want to say.
Telltale games.
Not the Telltale games. What was that one Disney game that they that they made? The free to play browser Disney game. Was it like Toontown or something like that?
Yeah,
it reminds me.
It
reminds me of Toontown. Yeah. I played that shit a lot when I was a kid. But yeah, it's really cool, and it's fun to just walk around and explore and like mine stuff. All the stuff you mine goes from world to world. It's like one big inventory that you keep everywhere you go, so it's cool. You never like really lose anything. So it's fun. Definitely really fun, and it's fun to play with people.
Yeah, like, I'll check it out a little bit more. I might get it.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's pretty good.
All right.
Yeah, I'm surprised, because I thought we were gonna have like a month or two where we didn't have like anything to do, but we got all these really cool games coming out, so that's exciting. But yeah, so I'm gonna go on to housekeeping real quick. Just get over some clerical shit for you guys. Get that out of the way so we can move into the our main topic in the news. So yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So real quick, we have if you guys want to check our Discord, it will be in the description. Also, if you like our content, go ahead and leave a subscribe and a like if you want to hear more from us. We are on podcasting services as well, and we do have a Twitter at ThoughtPatrolPD. If you want to talk with us, if you want to leave us anything that we can talk about on the podcast, something like that, or you just want to say, hey, you guys suck, or hey, you guys are cool, go ahead and leave a comment. And
we're especially fond of heart symbols.
Yeah, exactly. And
wow, you guys couldn't like support me at all. Just leave that out to die.
I like
cricket sounds.
So.
Wow, Shawn, she sat up. She sat up from her chair to tell you that she likes encouragement.
Well, look at that! I got a response.
There you go.
I love you too, boo.
So.
You know what you gotta do, Kyle, for the YouTube? You gotta fill in some more information, and like in the about section here, kind of give the fans a little more of a introduction and stuff like that. Like, hey, here's what we're here.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh,
guys.
Okay.
Whoa.
Oh,
we have to have a talk about my PSN username.
It's in the
description
it's
now.
the best PSN username ever.
So is mine. No.
Oh, dude, I can't even see yours, Tyler, because you did the name thing. So we've got a name exchange. So I don't even know what your username is. I just get your name.
Is it? Hold on.
Yeah, because you asked him to be a true friend or something like that.
Hey.
Well, I did it for all the friends all the friend requests I sent immediately on PlayStation. But sorry to block Caitlin's conversation. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Caitlyn.
so
Say what you got to say.
as I was saying, my PSN is actually Dong Feast 420, and that was not my choice. Okay.
We talked about this already.
Just please.
Not on the podcast.
Yeah, we did.
I still think it's the best
we did.
PSN ID ever.
Okay, well, I have to reiterate because I didn't do that. So, continue.
That's all she had to say.
Yeah.
Drop the mic.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
All right. So real quick, also before we continue, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about. We actually have some iTunes reviews. Would you look at that? Wow. So I'm going to go and look at our iTunes reviews real quick and read them off. If you guys feel as kind to leave an iTunes review, we will read it on the podcast. And I'm not fucking around. I don't care what you say. I don't care how many stars it has, but I will read it on the podcast. So, real quick, we're going to go over the iTunes reviews, the two that we have. They are both 5 stars, which is fantastic. But we have one from, this is Garrett Drake of the It's Obvious Gaming podcast. He did leave an iTunes review, that beautiful man.
Garrett.
If you're listening, Garrett, I love you. And we're going to get married. You don't know that yet, but we will. So, he says, I like it a lot. An outstanding listen during my early morning commutes. The Thought Patrol gang are an awesome bunch with great chemistry and insight. In a world packed full of gaming podcasts, Thought Patrol stands out as an exceptionally entertaining and unique show.
Well, hold on. How much did you pay this person to write that? That is a bunch of... Man,
that was extra glowing.
Listen, enough. That's all you need to know. Enough. Okay, and also we have from D-Smitty22.
D-Schmitty.
D-Schmitty. It is also 5 stars. It says, great listen, entertaining and insightful, great weekly content, provides info on all avenues of entertainment, keeping up to date with releases and news tidbits, informative and engaging. What more could you ask for in a podcast?
Damn.
Oh, you guys are so
Kyle
wonderful.
is like the biggest happy boner I've ever seen.
Bro.
Yeah, somebody paid love to his news tidbits.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Man, I'm telling you, the news is what gets the views, man.
There you
go. The news gets the views. All right. So again, all you out there, thank you for your support. We really appreciate it here. I can't explain how important it is for up-and-coming content creators to get feedback on what they're doing. It really keeps you going. Besides Shawn. Shawn's what keeps me going too. But that's another story entirely. So, if you want to get your review or comments read on the podcast, feel free to drop them. And we will be happy to read them. Maybe even if it's a question, give you an answer, anything like that. Yeah. Or you could go through the Discord. We have a section called the something mailbag, I think. And you can drop questions there too. And again, we'll be happy to answer them.
Mailbag.
Yeah, something mailbag. Yeah, you'll see it. It's there. It has the word mailbag in it. So, Jesus, we're going to move on.
That was great.
We're going to move on to our segment, Germany or Florida. Everyone's favorite segment. Yeah. And we're going to see what you guys out there think. And I'm going to go ahead and read it real quick. And I listened back. Now I'm going to give some finalization. I listened back to the last episode, Shawn, and I did not say Paris. I said parish. It was parish. So it wasn't Paris. I didn't say Paris. It was the parish secretary. So I did not give it away.
With Antony because he was so excited.
I did not give it away while I was reading.
So Kyle was trying to prove a point here. You should have seen how he was just like
I was
sternly.
doing
He had his index and he had his index
the Casey and Neistat thing.
To go, yeah, he's like parish.
Never seen that? That's all Casey and Neistat does.
I watch him all the time.
Yeah. So.
There's what? What?
Nothing. I'll send you a picture of my dick later, Shawn. How about that?
Okay. Casey Neistat didn't send me a picture of his dick. I remember that.
All right. So we have methane gas from 90 flatulent clouds exploded in in a blank farm shed on Monday, damaging the roof and injuring one of the animals, police said. High levels of the gas had built up in the structure in the central blank town of blank. Then, a static electric charge caused the gas to explode with flashes of flames, the police said in a statement. One cow was treated for burns, a police spokesman added. So what do we got? Germany or Florida?
I'll say Germany, because just when you said the blank town of blank, I don't know. I just don't think of Florida when I hear stuff like that. Like I literally thought of a German setting with a bunch of cows and just like the open field. Here in Florida, I can't think of just like a.
Well, we also live in southern Florida.
I was thinking it could be like somewhere in Orlando or northern.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go ahead and say Germany.
What about you, Cal?
I'd say the same.
One more time into the microphone, Cal.
I was talking. I'd say the same.
Okay. She's giving me sass, guys. Man.
I'm exhausted.
You're
I like
exhausted.
it when she gets to sassy.
What about you, Shawn?
I'm so sorry.
Explosive fart building. That could be. That could legit could be anywhere, man. That doesn't sound particularly freaky either direction. So, if we have 2 for Germany, I'm just gonna go with Florida. Just because it sounds good.
There you go. Take one for the other team.
All right. Even it out.
Yeah.
Okay. So explosive gas from 90 cows. That's your
Drumroll, please.
keyword. We'll come back to that.
I don't know how many cows. Yeah, I think we would have heard about that in the news, though, if that happened. I don't watch the news, but I think somebody would have talked about it.
All right. Well, these are from
Probably
a while
right.
ago.
It's probably Germany.
We'll come back to that after our box office tops. And yes, so keep your answer in your head, all you listeners out there. And let's see. Real quick, we're going to move on to how the box office is going for this week.
By the way, I did see Wonder Woman and Spider-Man. I don't know if I said that before.
Oh, you did? How'd that go?
Yeah.
I've seen both.
Wonder
I
Woman
saw
was
Spider-Man too.
decent.
Yeah.
Oh, nobody asked.
Spider-Man was okay. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. I mean, it was enjoyable. It kind of seemed like a half-hour episode more than a full movie. Didn't really have a lot of content going on, but it was enjoyable. I mean, it was worth the money. It just didn't knock my socks off.
All right.
I enjoyed it.
Okay, so at number 1, we have War for the Planet of the Apes sitting at the top with $77 million for the week. And its budget was $150 million. So it's about halfway to its budget, which is pretty cool. We have at number 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, which is at $66 million for the week and sitting at $229 million for total. And its budget was $175 million. At number 3, we have Despicable Me 3, which made $31 million this week. And its total is sitting at $200 million with only a budget of $80 million. So, at number 4, we have Baby Driver, which is sitting at $13 million for the week with a total of $78 million, only on a budget of $34 million.
Wow.
So, I've heard Baby Driver was good.
I heard mixed reviews on that. It's a weird movie. I mean, watching the trailer, it was like the guys.
It reminded me of like Transporter, but with a kid.
Yeah,
that's the feeling I got. And then
what movie is this?
Baby Driver.
Something
I legit thought that was a kids movie. I didn't even give it a second thought.
And then at number 5, we have The Big Sick, which is $11 million for the week and $19 million total. So, and its budget isn't on this website for some reason. What was The Big Sick about?
It's like a romance.
Oh, I have heard about that. It's like a comedy or whatever, romance comedy.
It's like an Indian guy, and he falls in love with like this white girl.
Indian. Why does he have to be Indian, Count?
Why does it have to be a white girl?
That's what the movie's surrounded about, like their races and how they're not supposed to be together.
It looks funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But it doesn't. It looks like something that's
on
been
this
done
movie,
before.
huh?
It's been marketed so heavily. Like I see it everywhere.
I don't watch
I have
TV,
not
but I've seen it on
once.
YouTube.
Yeah, I see the ads on YouTube.
Oh, talking about trailers, Shawn, I saw a trailer for Ready Player One.
I told you about that like a year ago, man. I've been
I
waiting.
know. That's why I'm talking about
10
it.
years for this movie, dude. That movie is going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, it looks really
that
cool.
and Valerian are the two
hyped.
big ones I'm waiting for.
Looks pretty cool.
I heard Valerian was not going to be that good. And I saw a review for it, and it just like a lot of people were just saying it's just a giant CGI movie. The characters aren't really they're not like fulfilled like with the way how they cast it. They didn't like the cast and about this and that. It looks like a very beautiful movie though. Again,
think of it like this: it's Luc Besson, right? And no matter what, he's always good for the eyes. But and he's had a few stinkers, but I mean, The Messenger was good.
Stinker.
He said The Messenger was good. Leon the Professional was good. That diving one he did was good. Deep Blue or something like that. And The Fifth Element received the same kind of criticism before it came out. And The Fifth Element is fucking legendary.
Yep.
So I admit Valerian looks like something that it looks too good to be true. It looks like the kind of thing where you're like, oh, it's pretty, but it's probably not going to have any substance. But I'm holding check until it comes out because I believe in Luc Besson.
Has it come out yet?
No. What, Valerian?
Yeah.
No, it's not out yet.
Did the Dark Tower release this weekend? Is Dark
I
Tower out?
Dark Tower too.
I don't know.
Either. I have no idea. Man, we should probably know about this.
I've had my nose so far up these games' asses that I haven't been paying attention to anything else. It's embarrassing.
Dark Tower looks cool though.
It does. You know, it takes place. It's the sequel to the books. It's not the books. This is the story. If anybody's read the Dark Tower books, it ends where it begins. Like Roland doesn't completely succeed in stopping the Man in Black and the Crimson Lord, so what ends up happening, or Crimson King, I keep fucking that up. So he and what's happened is every time he fails, time resets, and it goes back, and he has to try again. And he basically has been doing the same cycle over and over and over, and failing every time. So he has another chance.
Sounds like my life.
So the movie is supposed to be his last chance. This movie is the last time he's reborn and starts the cycle again.
Sounds cool. They are making another.
So you don't have to have read the other ones. I think. I think there's going to be a lot of shout outs to fans, but I think this is the movie where we're going to be able to walk into it not having read the Dark Tower series and still be fine because it's going to be a standalone story that takes place after the final book.
All right, cool.
Right, that sounds interesting.
So yeah, that was the tops for the box office this week. Yeah, I've heard that I haven't seen any of the Planet of the Apes movies, but I've heard that they're good.
They're getting really good with this stuff. I heard like this one's supposed to be so good. I mean, just with just like how far we've come technology with CG and the motion capture too, especially with Andy Serkis doing all that. I mean, that is sort of way back when he did, Gollum from Lord of the Rings, and like ever since then, it's like he has shot off and just done all these amazing films with these amazing effects like that. I mean, he's before Planet of the Apes, he did that. He did he did The Hobbit, obviously. He did Smaug the dragon. He actually did Snoke from Star Wars.
Did he do no, he didn't do the dragon.
Oh no.
Sherlock did the dragon.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I mean with the motion capture, I want to say Andy Serkis was the second unit director for the Hobbit trilogy, I think. So I don't know if he had anything to do with helping out with that when it came to that aspect. He was probably showed Cumberbatch like how to use it, and the whole facial recognition and stuff, and all like the motions and gestures. But because I'm assuming he's like an expert on this. He does so many movies with those. But like I don't know what it is, but that just sounds like the motion capture is just like amazing. How they get like the facial features and stuff like that, and like just to throw the Planet of the Apes is just like a legendary series by itself, but like. If you look how far we've come from now to way back in, like, what was it, 1969, 1970, when they did the first Planet of the Apes movie, when they just did, like, the goofy, cheesy monkey mask and stuff. I mean, that was, at that time, pretty groundbreaking, too. But just how much further we've come now. Like, I wonder at what point when in the series where we catch up now. Because I think there might be some more movies after this one. Because they're not entirely caught up where it's going to, like, fall into the back end of the beginning of Planet of the Apes, the original from, the late 60s, early 70s, whenever.
Were they? I thought they weren't trying to tie them together. I thought it was a hard reboot. Is it supposed to tie in with the original?
As far as I've heard, it's supposed to, because the story for Planet of the Apes, back in that day, it was, that is Earth set out like way down in the future where something happened and the apes became smart and humanity's the one that got I think it was the humans themselves that like caused their own demise or whatever.
Yeah, well the astronaut
so at the end the guy comes up and it's like the Statue of Liberty and he's like, you blew it up. So
That movie's so good.
Yeah, right. I love it. You know, they had a rated G rating. Like
Serious?
Like in today's society, I don't know if that would be like something else now.
Well, they slap a PG or PG-13 on most of everything.
Yeah, I don't know if G even exists anymore.
It doesn't.
Yeah, but
No, it does.
but anyway, for
It
this movie,
exists. They just don't use it.
No, they don't.
definitely gonna watch that.
All right, so that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
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 Mm-hmm.
So let's go on to our answer to Germany or Florida.
All right, here we go.
Fantastic, and it was in fact Germany.
Hey, ooh, yeah,
Germany.
Wunderbar.
So yeah, if you got that right, and you should think highly of yourself because that's quite a
Give
feat.
yourself a pat on the back.
Pat on the back and leave a comment.
There you go.
Let us know. Or if you said Florida, you're a fucking idiot.
Right.
So, what are you doing? What are you doing over there?
Scratching.
Scratching yourself? All right, so now that we're done with that, we're going to move on to our news. We're going to go through it real quick, and then we'll move on to our main topic after that. So, the first news article, try not to yawn into the microphone, because it's late.
Everyone else is gonna do it now. You know.
Yep.
Here we go. Here we go.
You shouldn't have looked at me, so now everyone's going to yawn. All right, so we have Diablo 3's next season begins, and here are some of the potential rewards. This is Chris Pereira of GameSpot. And recently they did add in Season 11, they did add the Necromancer. So this is going to be talking a little bit about that. So Season 11 of Diablo 3 is officially underway as of today, the 21st. And marking the first one where you'll be able to play as the recently released Necromancer class. It brings with it a new round of rewards, including some brand new cosmetics. The main reward that you'll likely be gunning for is a new pet, the Emerald Dragon. So, that's cool. I don't remember pets too much in Diablo 3. We played a shitload about that. One thing I do remember is that when Overwatch came out, you could get like Mercy's wings to go on your character in Diablo 3. That shit was really cool. So there's the Emerald Dragon, that's one of the pets. There are also new portraits that feature the dragon. And there is new class-specific sets as well for the Barbarians, which are the Wrath of the Waste, Crusaders, which is Roland's Legacy, Demon Hunters, which is Unhallowed Essence. Excuse me. Monks, which is Raiment of 1,000 Storms, Necromancer, which is Bones of Rothma. And Witch Doctors, we have the Helltooth Harness, Wizards, Tal Rashaw's Elements.
Well,
So
that was a mouthful.
Yeah, it was. So, with Necromancer still being a relatively new class, there's a good chance you may not have the Bones of Rothma yet. 6-piece set that resembles the Necromancer's look in Diablo 2. So, he's out, and I'm surprised that they've been like tracking seasons for Diablo. That's kind of interesting. Oh, we played a shitload of it. I have no idea what season it was, but I had like this OP-ass monk, Tyler. Tyler, this monk, I had like a perfect. This is the luckiest I've ever been in an RPG.
Tell me about it.
We make jokes of like me being like RN Jesus when it comes to certain things because I get like really good drops and loot and stuff like that. But this shit was insane. So it was a monk and they have the ability to drop this bell, right? Mm-hmm. And this bell will just do like normal damage. That's normally not what the monk is doing. But I had a thing where there's this other ability that you kick up this thing that will like spin around you and it will grow stronger every time you get a crit. It will get stronger and it goes up to 3 stacks. And what happens is you can get another piece of armor that what it will do is it will sacrifice 1 stack of that spinning thing and make your bell like 10,000 times stronger. Straight up, 10,000 times stronger.
That's a lot of times.
Yeah, and but the thing is it will pull a stack, so you could only do so many. But then there's another piece of armor I got that if you're not hitting anything, that it will with the spinning thing that it will continuously build its own stacks. So what you do is you sit in the background, and I'm dropping these bells that are huge AOE bells, and they were doing billions of damage. And then I had another thing that you could sacrifice pieces and turn them into passives to apply to your character. And I had one where it would drop the bell at an enemy, because normally it just drops in front of you. So I could sit in a room and spam the bell and just fucking nuke everything in the
That sounds
room.
incredibly overpowered.
It is. It was so OP.
Yeah, I don't think they considered. Didn't you find that on accident?
Yeah, completely
Yeah,
accidental.
see, that doesn't sound like a thing that's like rather common.
I'm sure people use it, but it's like so fucking OP. And it was funny because we could like do multiplayer fights.
You're that guy, Kyle.
Yeah, we could do like multiplayer fights, and Jonathan could be like running around like off screen, and I could just press a trigger, and fucking a bell would slam into him and one shot him. It was so insane. It was funny as hell. But like it got to the point where it was boring almost because we'd blow through everything so quickly.
There's no fun in it.
Yeah.
There's no challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, probably cool like from like at first, but then it's like, oh. Well.
Yeah, once I found it, I'm like, holy shit, this is insanely strong. And then like we were like at torment like 50 something, and we're still blowing through shit. I'm like, I don't feel like what can I work towards now? There's like nothing. There's nothing to get anymore. So that was crazy.
Oh, that is interesting though.
Yeah, Necromancer's out. I'm sure people, all you out there that are playing Diablo are enjoying Necromancer.
Yeah, I got a few friends that love that game. I never got into it too much. I did play for a while though, but I don't know. I just didn't satisfy my needs for a game. I don't know. There wasn't anything I was looking for really.
You're a fickle bitch, aren't you, Tyler?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm very stubborn when it comes to like finding certain games. I will tell you one game really quick that I just finished. As you guys heard the other day, I was talking over the PlayStation Party, but I was playing on Xbox.
Play-by-play.
I just finished playing Wolfenstein: A New Order, and goddamn, that game is fucking badass. Like,
excited for the second one.
Oh, entirely.
For the listeners, if you haven't heard Tyler play a game, it's fucking epic.
See,
this man has true joy. He's like, oh my god, did you see that? It was so cool. And then, and then she was like,
that was like an exact play-by-play.
It's fucking great.
It was just such a great. I mean, as cheesy as it is at times, it's just such a cool. It's just ultimate badassery.
It's like a campy story.
It's like 110% from start to finish that game. And so I just finished that, and I started playing the Old Blood, I think it's called, right, which is technically the prequel to A New Order. And then I just like how I got into the series like months before the new one gets released too. So I'm definitely gonna get a new Colossus. That I've heard the story like kind of continues on from the last one, and I want to know what the hell happens because there's a few things that get like left out, like that happens to your character, and you're like, what the hell's going on? So. Oh, goddamn. I'm going to play it again. I'm going to play that game again. I'm going to do another playthrough. Because at the beginning of the game, there's two sides that you can choose from. And it's pretty much like you just save a character's life and the other one practically, he pretty much dies. And then, then decades later, because you get put into a coma, you wake up and like there's only slight variations throughout the story that are changed, but it's pretty much the same story throughout. But there are some cool differences if you choose certain characters or the other character over the other one, which made me want to get the game based off the trailer I saw. So I'm so sorry, guys.
Awesome. You got that little.
Oh yeah, like that spark came up. That game was awesome.
That's cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we're already sitting at like 50 minutes, so we're gonna go through the rest of these news articles pretty quickly.
Awesome outbursts.
So. The next one we have is there's an open beta for the Ghost Recon Wildlands PvP mode coming soon, which sounds interesting because it's supposedly an open world kind of stealth game. It didn't keep my attention for too long.
Yeah, I heard that was from Shawn with a little fart noise.
With a little fart noise.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was so excited for that game because they fucked me on Rainbow Six. And it was fun for like 15, 25 minutes. And then after that, and then you try and play it by yourself.
You hear that?
And the AI are just like, look, it's bullets.
Yeah.
Let me jump in front. Yeah. Oh, God, it was so bad.
You like pick someone off with a sniper from like 6 mountains over, and everyone knows exactly where you are.
And then the entire place knows where you are.
Oh, man. Yeah. So they're going to have like a PvP mode. It will be set to arrive later this year. And they're going to test it through an open beta. They have yet to offer any type of more specific date, but it'll be like large-scale open map PvP, which would be pretty cool. There's been a great deal of post-launch support for the game with DLC expansions and free updates, including a new difficulty mode and stuff like that. So it was the best-selling game through the first half of 2017 around much of the world, which baffles me.
That is a
Really?
pretty big standing
Yeah.
to have.
So,
Well, you got to think what else came out around that time, though.
well, we've had a lot of games early, the first half of 2017. We've had Persona 5's niche, so not many people bought that.
I'm just saying you got to have the stats with it, too. For the Breath of the Wild?
I guarantee it was
Breath
big
of the
on
Wild.
Xbox.
Breath of the Wild came out, but still, the problem with Breath of the Wild is you can only sell as many Breath of the Wilds as
the-
Switches that you have.
But no.
So you've kind of
Wii U.
Yeah, but people bought more
Breath of the Wild, but still, it was only like 100,000 extra.
That's a lot. 100,000 is a lot, if you think about it.
But still,
Oh, I'm just saying, of all the other, there are other games,
yeah,
that are worthy of holding that half too.
that isn't Wildlands. I've heard some people love that game, and I'm like, bitch, there's so much better stuff to play, boy.
Amen.
And you're playing
Each to
this,
their own.
and you're playing this. Nah.
Play Wolfenstein.
So the next article we have, the Destiny 2 beta has been amazingly helpful, Bungie says. Bungie talks about the initial feedback to the beta. This is Eddie Macic of GameSpot. And the Destiny 2 beta is going on right now. It ends. It'll be over by the time this episode comes out, sadly. This will probably come out on a Monday. But it did end. It did wrapped up over the last week. Bungie has discussed the purpose and importance of the testing period. In Bungie's latest weekly posts, producer Jared Burbach said the data has already been amazingly helpful for the development team. So they're usually with betas, you're stress testing servers, and you're introducing new elements of gameplay to people. But a lot of the time, you're stress testing servers. That's the biggest thing, because the thing with Destiny, although they didn't test with PC, is PC's coming too. So they're gonna have a lot of extra people.
Oh wait.
Jumping on the game, and they're going to need to be prepared for that.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Wait,
so,
what now?
Well, we're talking about like what a beta is like usually designed to do. Burbach added, this testing ultimately helps us validate that a new server model is working as we thought it would, and at the quality and scale that we had hoped. Helps us evaluate our new tech advancements, including enhancements you'll understand more fully when you play the full game. Ultimately, it paves the way for us to have a much smoother launch, which is usually what betas are for. Besides being like a cock tease to new players. So he says, also adds on top that they are working on retuning drop rates. They built a system that guarantees power ammo drops for you and your fire team from certain enemies, giving power weapons a more reliable and predictable role in your arsenal. Other areas we've made significant tuning changes include grenade effectiveness in PvE, boss vitality, and weapon damage against non-player combatants. Jeez. So they're kind of working on it, and it's just a huge kind of experiment, as well as a server test, stress test, I guess is a better way to say it. So that's that. Let's go out and move on to the next article. What?
I have to feed Onyx.
Cool, go ahead. Just don't make too much noise. Okay, so we have Pokemon Go finally introducing legendary Pokemon. For any of you out there that still might play this game or are looking to get back into it with your friends or whatever you do, Pokemon Go is finally introducing legendary Pokemon. You'll be able to help unlock the first one this weekend. This is Chris Perrier of GameSpot. For the longest time, legendary Pokemon have been a long time coming for Pokemon Go. One false start aside, they will finally be introduced later this week to celebrate the game's 1-year anniversary. In order for the first one to arrive, players around the world will have to catch enough creatures during the upcoming Pokemon Go Fest challenge windows, which were recently announced. If that happens, a legendary will show up at Grand Park in Chicago, as well as part of the live Pokemon Go Fest event this Saturday, July 22nd. So people that aren't in Chicago are fucked?
Yeah, go fuck yourselves.
Damn,
Non-Chicagoans.
Yeah, pretty much. That's why when they first announced the game, that's what I thought. I'm like, they're going to put all the legendaries at landmarks or
I
something.
was just there like a couple weeks ago too. What the fuck?
Go fuck yourself. No legendary for you. So they're still working on Pokemon Go, even though it kind of fell off the face of the earth within a week.
It's like initial fan base is just all gone.
Yeah.
That business model only works so far. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a really good idea, but there was too much missing from it to make it
Well, for it to
more
carry
than
on.
just a collectathon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really didn't do much. You caught Pokemon and sat them on gyms and leveled them up and did what?
Yeah, it was very basic.
Well, the cool part was you got the whole theme of it was to go out and interact, and
That I enjoyed.
and that actually happened. I ended up talking to a lot of strangers who, I mean, I didn't become any I didn't make
Tyler, what
serious
did your
friends.
parents tell you?
Not to talk to strangers, especially while playing Pokemon, because sometimes they want other things other than Pokemon.
Okay.
Right?
And
But,
people got stabbed
okay, yeah. That's
while
true.
playing Pokemon Go.
Hey, I mean, as messed up as it was, that was genius what they did, though. Like, they lured people, no pun intended, because I used a lure. They lured people.
Right into a knife.
Yeah.
They just walked right into the knife because they were too busy looking
Other
at
than
their
that, like, I
phones.
mean, like, I was doing, like, I was walking around a park one day. I was just working out, getting some cardio in. I was like, you know what? Let me hatch some eggs, too, while I'm at it. And I'm talking
if
to some
only you
dude.
could do it when your phone was locked.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem.
Fucking Pokemon
Yeah,
Go.
so then I write and I get
can
like
buy
8
that
up to my
little
battery
thing.
phone, too.
Well, only for iPhones.
Sad face.
No, it works on other
Android
phones
Army.
now.
But yeah, I ran into a lot of people who were also doing the same thing. And it's like,
Yeah.
Or you got hit by cars too because people aren't paying attention because have more reason to be on their goddamn phone while driving too.
Do you mean Antony?
Yeah.
Driving at like 5 miles an hour
Yeah.
with his phone out trying to hatch eggs.
Did you guys ever go to the was it the 9/11 memorial? on
Yeah,
Pines
we went there
That,
with
that
Antony.
hot spot?
And there's
Oh my God.
like 500 people
Yeah.
walking around.
There was a guy with like out of his truck. He made merchandise.
Oh, yeah, and he
Pokemon
was selling-
Go merchandise. That guy probably made a pretty
a
penny
shitload of
doing
money
that. Oh,
doing
yeah.
that, yeah. I wonder if
Smart.
that place still gets traffic.
Oh, probably, but that's actually people living there at night because it's like
Yeah.
you just have all that noise going on outside.
Yeah,
a
and
bunch
there's
of
like
apartments
6
on this
gyms
area.
there too, so people are just going crazy. We had this one guy that never played Pokemon before, but he was playing it, so you just hear him. Like, we'd be walking and you'd hear a man screaming like, "Oh, I got a Diglett," or something like that from like 30 feet away, just screaming like never played Pokemon. We had people that were like,
Yeah.
I never played it.
were you just speaking into a...
No, it was on.
playing.
No, I was watching. The
Okay, I was going to say, I thought
All
this
right,
man
for those
was...
of you
I was
listening,
gonna say, is Caitlyn still there? Because she's been quiet this
No,
whole
she-
time.
I
she
had
went
to
to
go
go-
feed my rabbit.
That would have been very upsetting, and change pants too.
I thought
Yeah, I
that...
was really uncomfortable. So I changed.
Okay, well, she's back. But let's finish the article. The legendary Pokemons will be fought,
Mans.
but they'll be fought in a similar way to standard raid battles, where players will team up to fight and have a chance to catch it if the Pokemon is successfully defeated. Provided you're not in Chicago for Pokemon Go Fest, in the future you'll stumble across legendary eggs at gyms where you'll have the chance to fight and then catch these creatures if you're fortunate enough to get your hands on one. However, you'll find it differs from other Pokemon in at least one way, as you won't be able to leave it behind at a gym to defend it. So you can't drop like a fucking like Articuno at a gym to have that. Sucks. What's the point?
Right.
Got to show it to my friends. Oh, look at this Pokemon I caught. Or I don't have any friends.
Wasn't there one Pokemon Go player who actually caught like an Articuno and then
Yeah, they took it away
they
from
took
him.
it away because it was
It was like a mess. It was.
yeah, it was some sort of glitch or something like that. But man, I would have been so upset. I'm like, hey, I caught it. What the fuck?
There was this one dude that went and he streamed himself traveling the country to catch to fill out
The
his
one that
Pokedex.
cost, yeah.
And he got a ton of money for doing that.
Yeah, someone
That's
they
the guy that
paid
got
him to
paid to
go
do it
that. I
by
thought.
somebody else, so it wasn't his
That's crazy.
Yeah, there you go.
By who?
He got paid by some rich person who paid him to go and get all the Pokemon for them.
Sean,
So
are you not
he
talking in the
created
microphone now? Sound like a mile away. All right, so moving on to the next article, we have the Big Boom update will unlock all DLC for Doom. So, Big Doom, not Big Boom.
Yeah, it's free now, right?
Yeah.
I saw that. I might get that game now because of that.
Yeah, so a big update
What?
arrived on the 19th, which
Doom.
makes all DLC available. Chris Perry of GameSpot. Doom was acclaimed upon its release last year, but it was in a large part due to its stellar campaign. Its multiplayer component was widely regarded as the weaker of the two, but a new update has introduced some very welcome-sounding improvements. Most notably, Bethesda and id Software are doing away with Doom's $40 season pass and unlocking its multiplayer DLC for all players. That means that everyone who owns the game or anyone who now picks it up will get their hands on 9 additional maps, 3 guns, 3 demons, and new armor and equipment options for free. So, Cool.
Not bad, yeah.
That's definitely exciting. I own it. Didn't buy any of the DLC because I barely played it. But now it's cool to know that if I ever do go back to it, there will be...
So what happens to those who bought the season pass then? Or was that not available yet? Because, like, for those who, if they bought that, then they lost $40, you know? That's like, I could see people complaining about that, though. I wouldn't think that...
Yeah, but they do that a lot where you pay for something and then it goes free or free to play.
That's like
or whatever.
the games with gold stuff or like
Here,
for
let's see.
Xbox or...
Those who have played the game prior get a special badge. I'm seeing if they talk about that at all.
Because you got to think, like, me as a fan, if I were to buy that and then buy an expansion pass like that,
I'd be pissed
DLC
off.
Content, yeah, I'd be very upset. Like, unless they would somehow, like, I don't know, I get some sort of something in return, like, for those who had, you know, paid for it. Some sort of extra content or something, I don't know.
I have no idea.
Back.
That's a good question to ask.
Reparations, man.
Yeah. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
That's probably the answer. So, moving on to the next article. We're just trying to get through these real quick and we'll move on to our main topic. We have the free Nintendo Switch Online app is out now, basically. So, for those of you who have heard before, the only way to currently do things on the Switch that involves anything like playing with other people is through an app. Right? So talking with friends, setting up games, shit like that, that's all done through an app because Nintendo has no idea what the fuck they're doing when it comes to online gaming in any way, shape, or form.
I feel like now they're just trying to be overly... Like they're going over the top. Like they're really trying to...
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, sorry. That was like the first time you caught me. Lost my train of thought. Yeah, so that they're really trying to go over the top and... They're kind of just doing too much at this point. Like you don't need to create an app, and this is for your phone, right? Like there's not like apps that are on the Switch.
Well, you have no way of doing it through the Switch. You need to
So-
use the phone. That's the idea. They don't have it built into the Switch.
So if I'm, let's say, it is 2017, so kids as
considerable
or,
lack
like
of
young as
foresight.
7, 8 years old have iPhones now, but there are plenty of people that let's say don't have access to a phone or the internet or something like that.
But who would say that same person would have access to a Switch?
Okay, but I'm saying in this instance, though, all right, go fuck yourself.
No, he's got a point.
Whoa.
Right? You can't force people to use multiple devices. It's just ignorant and it's behind the times.
Well,
Like, if you're going to have a device that does things, it needs to support all of those things.
Yeah, obviously. But as we've established already, Nintendo has no idea what the fuck they're doing when it comes to multiplayer.
They're like cutting the head off a chicken with like something laid out on the ground, and whatever the chicken lands on is like what they're gonna do. Like they don't know how to make up their own fucking mind. They're like,
You
"Oh,
could have just said they threw a dart at a
That was
board.
me.
Why did you go?
Bizarre.
Kyle, leave him
Where the
alone.
fuck did that come from?
He has his own analogy.
It's like
Oh
it's
my
like cutting the head
God.
off of a chicken and then waiting to see what direction the giraffe farts with a lollipop.
Don't talk about giraffe.
Doesn't that sound more interesting though?
Oh
And
my
then,
gosh.
and then there's a bathtub full of brightly colored power tools.
All right, Shawn. Is there something you want to talk about now? Or?
Yeah, start fighting words.
So, okay. So the app is available for free.
Had a triple pass.
And it is for iOS and Android. The app will support Splatoon 2 when it launches this week, allowing you to invite friends to online matches and make use of voice chat.
Let me get my phone to invite my friends.
Guys, you want to make a gaming appointment? Let's play some Mario Kart later,
Yeah,
dude.
like 5 o'clock.
We could just go on Discord and do it instead, but let's use the Switch app. That might not even work. Okay, additionally, you can invite people to private battles, league battles, salmon runs, and Splatfest battles. Sorry. This happens
Splatfest.
inside of a service called Splatnet 2. Oh, my God. So the only good news that we have is that the Switch's online service will officially launch in 2018, and the membership will only be $20 for a year. So,
Okay, that's-
while you can also
that's good.
subscribe for 1 to 3 months. I will not be using this app. It'd probably be to just play Mario Kart online, at least for currently, until we get some other games.
Yeah.
Maybe a Smash down the road. That'd be pretty cool. Play that online with friends. So,
You'll probably get a port of Smash before that happens. So.
yeah, I'm hoping they do kind of like what they do with Mario, or they just port it and then they put all the DLC on it, kind of. So this one I thought was a little like weirder than anything else, but this is Terry Crews still loves Overwatch, but his new favorite game is PUBG, which is PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. And
Because we all care
I
about
don't
what Terry Crews likes.
Well, because Shawn, like 2 weeks ago, threw a shit fit because Terry Crews wasn't Doomfist. So this is
I'm
basically...
still in the process of throwing that shit fit. I'm not done yet.
So this is Chris Berry of GameSpot. So Terry Crews is a well-known fan of Overwatch, having campaigned to play the role of one of its characters, Doomfist. While he still loves that game, he, like many other people, has found a new passion player towards Battlegrounds. So he does play games. Like I know he built a PC with his son and he streamed it.
That's pretty cool.
So he's I don't know if it's a PR stunt or it's just a hobby of his, but he has gotten into it. So, and another interesting thing about PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds is just recently it surpassed the all-time peak concurrent player count. It surpassed Grand Theft Auto 5.
What's the...
I still have no idea what that game is.
That's returning players
Yeah.
every week. It surpassed Grand Theft Auto 5's numbers, which is like one of the highest selling games in the last fucking decade, because it's still in like the top 10 charts of monthly sales.
What?
Which is crazy. It's just like a battle royale survival game, kind of a la Hunger Games. So, but you can play with friends.
Lifts weights while like in between game sessions.
Yeah, and he
Just like a quick pump in.
yeah, and he records
Yeah.
he record. What's that thing he makes commercials for?
Old Spice.
Yeah, he records Old Spice commercials.
Yeah, he does
so.
one of those.
Abdominals. Him and that other dude.
Other dude.
The gold.
Yeah, there's another guy that did it too. I'm not sure which one of
The
them.
Gold
was
Bond
funnier.
dude is Shaq.
No, that's not what I'm.
Yeah,
No,
I know what you're
fucktard. That's
talking
not what I'm talking
Talking
about.
about the dude that's like, I'm on a horse.
Shaq is my best
That
friend.
other black
Yeah,
guy.
that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's some good too.
that was
They had
also
one where
Old
they
Spice.
did. They were both in the same commercial too. That one was.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was great. I think that was a Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah. So speaking of Doomfist, we have Doomfist's release date, and this is Tamur Hussein of GameSpot, and his subtitle for this article is "Prepare to be Doomfisted." I'm gonna put that on a T-shirt.
Oh god.
I'm gonna stop it.
Why?
What?
No.
You required one of those per podcast.
Per podcast.
Minimal.
Well, it's been a while, but
It's been a while.
per 5 episodes. So we already know. Everyone knows about Doomfist. Everyone that's touched games knows about Doomfist. It's all over the place. So he will be available July 27th. So they made a video for him. It's on Blizzard's YouTube, and he'll be out, and we'll all be able to enjoy Doomfisting people.
Yeah,
I guess that sounds pretty good to me. So definitely a really cool character. We've talked about him before. Has a lot of mobility to him. Definitely seems a bit strong. He has been slightly nerfed. Nothing fucking drilled into the ground yet. So we'll see how long they'll keep him at the style that he is. I think the best way they could kind of balance him is messing with his cooldowns. I don't think touching his damage or anything like that. Maybe some ratios. I don't really know because I'm not a game designer. But
I still think making characters counter him more. Like I hear tell that they're gonna have there's like 3 or 4 characters that are supposed to counter him. What the Mexican chick is supposed to counter
Sombra?
him somehow.
well, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
if she gets the chance to hack him before he fucking destroys her, that's a possibility. May is good against him because she slows him to like a halt. So, and she can kill him if he doesn't have a shield. So she's good against him. I've seen the best counter is May. Or like
May counters everything because she's a bitch.
yeah, I guess
Just
so.
countering shit.
Yeah. So, moving on to the next article, we have a new standalone Hulk movie will never happen.
No, they said it was
Mark
about to happen.
Ruffalo.
Like, no,
Mark Ruffalo
never.
says.
Never.
So, this is Eddie Mackey of GameSpot.
Ruffalo,
Yeah. Was that how you say his name?
the
actor who plays
Incredible Hulk,
Dr.
Mark
Banner.
Ruffalo.
Yeah. According to actor Mark Ruffalo, speaking to Variety, Ruffalo said it comes down to the fact that Universal owns the rights to the character and they won't allow it to happen. I want to make just one thing perfectly this is quote. I want to just make one thing perfectly clear today. A standalone Hulk movie will never happen, the actor said. Universal has the rights for standalone Hulk movies, and for some reason, they don't know how to play well with Marvel, and they don't want to make money. Straight out of it.
Universal. No, and he's absolutely right. Universal, man, they don't know how to work out. I mean, Sony did the right thing. They finally gave Spider-Man the rights, or they gave Spider-Man over to Marvel, and they took that shit down. And then
Sony didn't have much of a choice, though.
What do you mean they didn't have much of a choice? They did have a choice. But
Sony had backed themselves into a couple of corners. There was the big leak with some of their stuff, which was really bad press. They were losing money hand and fist on all of their Marvel movie titles because they kept fucking them up.
Well, yeah, and then obviously with Marvel doing their own the MCU, they did the right thing, and Universal needs to do the right thing and give their rights of the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, to Marvel Studios.
Get a decent Hulk
keep in mind,
movie.
Sony didn't give the rights back. They worked out a partnership.
They worked out a
still
partnership,
have-
yeah, I know.
And they make a huge chunk of the money off of anything that Spider-Man's in, but Marvel gets to use it to push their properties, which is the important part.
Yeah, that's kind of like what they...
Universal is not doing that.
Universal somewhat has that because they've allowed the Hulk to show.
Oh, and yes.
Well, no, they don't have... They can't... The way the contract is written for Universal is not the same as Fox or Sony with Spider-Man or the X-Men. So they don't have it written where Marvel can't use the character or the character can't be used somewhere else. But they have the standalone movies on lock. But the way their contract was worked out is different than the way the contract was worked out with X-Men and Fox, and Fantastic Four and Fox, or Spider-Man and the Spider-Man related properties with Sony.
Well, let's see how Thor Ragnarok goes, because the secret title is Hulk: The Awakening somewhere. Because they're gonna try. I feel like they're gonna try to make that almost a Hulk movie. Because they're going off the comic, the Hulk planet. Yeah, I forgot the name of the planet.
Isn't that the same arc where there's a bunch of incest going on and Hulk babies being made and deformed children?
This sounds like a Shrek joke, but no. I don't know what you're talking about.
That doesn't have.
I read Planet Hulk. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's like Sakaar. Is that
There's something like that where there's a bunch of deformed smaller Hulks, and there's incestual relations going on.
Dude, I don't know what kind of comic you were reading, but it was.
No,
I
heard it from somebody.
I'm not sure, man.
I'm gonna Google it and I'm gonna find out. But I remember something
Hulk
like that.
But that's his son.
I mean, She-Hulk.
No, I'm gonna find out, and I'm gonna fucking shit down your guys' throats after this. Yeah.
Oh.
All right, moving on to the next article. We have RuneScape is coming to mobile.
No!
Something I never cared
I thought
about.
the game was dead.
And it will be cross-play with PC. So RuneScape will be coming to phones. The MMO that you probably played in middle or high school is still
I can't believe it.
That's so true. Is still around. And developer Jagex announced today that it's coming to mobile devices. What's more, it'll support crossplay between mobile and PC. Both RuneScape and Old School RuneScape will be coming to mobile, with Old School RuneScape launching this winter and RuneScape coming after that. I think what's keeping that game alive is the legacy version of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because no one gives a shit about people do give a shit, but not as much. Not as much as people that care about the 09 RuneScape, which is where everyone's kind of.
I never cared for it.
Was it 09 or 07?
Was the old one.
Never cared for it.
How dare you?
It was fun.
Right,
Remember when we used to have two computers in this room, and we'd have one person on each side.
Yeah.
It was that and Roblox.
We used to play Roblox.
Dude,
We used to spend money on
Caitlyn, do you remember when Roblox was when my Roblox level was on the front page for one night?
What?
Yeah, dude, it was. And I even had a VIP shirt so you could get special abilities in the level and stuff.
Damn it, Kyle.
And it was called Destroy Bob, and what you had to do was there's this big ass.
You had to just destroy.
Yeah, it was
this
this big ass version, but he was made out of a bunch of little pieces.
Was that PvP game where you're squares?
Well, it's not PvP. You yeah.
Big
And you
Legos.
build
Square
stuff.
people or something.
But yeah, there's
play it in a browser or something.
Yeah. And
I think I've seen somebody play that game before.
yeah, people play it as a meme, pretty much.
The best meme
But
I've ever seen.
yeah, remember? And then I woke up. I woke up the next morning. Because I had to go to sleep because I was a little kid, and I had received a shitload of messages that my shirt didn't work or something like that. So I just pissed off a fuckload of people in one night. And I was so broken as a human being. I'm I lied to all these people.
I couldn't even.
I can't forgive myself.
Seppuku right there.
End it all.
Yeah, but that was middle school.
Bastard.
And I remember me and Caitlyn would play fucking RuneScape. That's where it was at.
All the time. I loved RuneScape, actually.
It was fun.
I really did like it.
There's a lot to do for a free game.
Yeah.
Although there was a lot behind the wall too. But remember we had the events. Remember like they had like a Santa hat
They
and it
had
would
like
be
remember
like
the World Exchange, and you could sell like.
oh yeah, you
your
could sell stuff to other
Christmas
people, and every
stuff.
time you went there, there'd be like hundreds of
ton of
bots
people there,
just
yeah.
like saying the
Selling
same thing
stuff,
over there.
Yeah.
That was where it was at.
Days, good days.
That was where I was at. Take me back.
Yeah, me.
I also found, you know how we watch AMVs, Tyler? You know how I found those? RuneScape. They had
used to have RuneScape.
They had
Where
it all
RuneScape.
started.
They had RuneScape music
Kyle's
videos.
origins here.
They had RuneScape music videos with people.
No, it was so
I'm gonna
cringe.
find a time machine, go back in time, and stop Kyle from
They
watching
had
that.
they had RuneScape music
And like
videos.
they would be typing in the lyrics,
I'll help you.
like they were saying
you.
it.
Yeah, they
Oh.
yo, I remember like they had like
to show it.
that's how we found 3 Days Grace too. Was through RuneScape music
I have to
videos.
show you some.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
They were fucking fantastic.
No.
And then I'm like, yo, this is so sick. And then I think I don't know how, but I think it was in one of the
What?
recommendations that they had AMVs. I'm like, what's this? And I'm like, anime
It was
music
all
videos.
downhill from there.
And then even today, I still watch AMVs from here whenever I see them on my sub feed. So yeah, that was my origin story there, guys. That's how you know how much of a fucking weeb I became.
He's made us very proud.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thing.
That was crazy shit, man. That was where I was at. That was where I was
Really
at.
that funny?
When I first found Crunchyroll, I
Just thinking
flipped
about
shit.
Just like, God damn it.
All right, so the last thing we have is the Kingdom Hearts 3 director Tetsuya Nomura explains
Nomura.
what
Got you.
Done that for you.
explains what took so long, plus preparations for Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC. Wow. Game's not even fucking out yet. Kingdom Hearts 3 has been a long time coming, and despite the series' many spin-offs, remakes, and re-releases, fans are hungry for another adventure with Sora and friends. It's been 12 years. Oh, this is by Michael Rogao from GameSpot. And fans are hungry for another adventure with Sora and friends. It's been 12 years since Kingdom Hearts 2 came out on PS2, and in a recent group interview at Disney's D23 Expo, game director Tetsuya Nomura explained what's taken so long. Quote, a lot of people have been mentioning and making it sound like that's
Shawn,
bits
are you there?
making noise.
I'm sorry, guys.
No.
No, somebody was just offering me chocolate.
And they didn't ask me.
Shit.
No, they didn't. They didn't ask you.
Okay. It's wow. A lot of people have been mentioning and making it sound like, oh, Nomura is taking too much time, and it hurts, Nomura said through a translator. He explained that the decision was made above his head to switch development to Unreal Engine 4 after about a year of development, which caused extensive delays. In addition, certain timing and resource challenges with Square Enix had an effect. There was a decision made to change to Unreal Engine 4, he said, so we switched over to that. Unfortunately, there was a bit of time that needed to be rewinded and started over, so there was a bit of a setback there. But it was a decision that the company had to make, so it was inevitable.
What was the engine before?
It does not say. Maybe Unreal 3? I don't know.
No, it wouldn't have been Unreal 3.
So we had a plan of the period that it's going to take for us to create the content at the start of the project, and we laid out after such and such years, we would need to add more personnel resources, he said. We had submitted to our headquarters and had it approved, but internal personnel is very limited, and there are various different projects that happen within our company. So basically, Kingdom Hearts has been a long time coming. Like I said, 12 years
I
is a
saw
long
some
time.
trailer where they're like, they finally got Toy Story to go
Well, yeah,
in.
that's one of the areas that we'll be in.
Yeah.
I've also heard there'll be a Big Hero 6 area. But yeah, it looks everything I've seen from that game looks fantastic.
Really?
I
Never
am
played any
so-
of those games, so.
Bitch, you have a PS4. You will be. They have recently
just got-
released the first and second games in a bundle. That's all you need. Don't play any of the other remakes because they're all fucking confusing. Because
the
then they
bundle,
become
okay.
more Final Fantasy than Disney, and then you're just like lost. Play Kingdom Hearts 1, especially Kingdom Hearts 2. It's like It's fucking fantastic. But those games are awesome. Really good. Really good. Maybe not Kingdom Hearts 1 as much. It was good, but it had its issues. But Kingdom Hearts 2 was fantastic. So that was it.
I loved Kingdom Hearts 1.
It was good. I'm just saying it's not as good as Kingdom Hearts 2 was.
It had Jack Skellington in it. That's all I gave a fuck about.
Didn't Kingdom Hearts 2 have Jack Skellington in it too? I'm pretty sure they both had Halloween Town in them.
Halloween.
It's possible. I remember
Halloween.
2 had I don't remember anything about 2. I'm not lying to you. I don't fucking remember shit.
Okay.
I remember the first one. I don't remember the second one. I don't remember. Yeah, I played most of them, and even the stories got so convoluted and forgettable that I remember Roxas or whatever the fuck his name was. I remember the guy with the orange hair. He was kind of a dick, and that's all I fucking remember. Like, I don't remember shit.
Yeah, all
That's
the
why I rebought the stupid games, is to play them again.
yeah, all the spin-offs are crazy. So that's our news segment. Just bringing you guys some stuff. Not much has happened over the past week. We only had a couple of things.
Informed.
But yeah.
See what little things are going on.
I'll sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So, Shawn, I'm going to leave it to you to present our main topic that we will be talking about for about the next 35 minutes.
Presenting
Presenting.
Shawn and the topic of the week.
That's our drop, guys.
Boom.
There it is. That just monotonous, doesn't give a fuck voice.
Me or him?
No, both of you, actually.
What?
More discussion on
Mind you.
yay, just this other stuff and things.
We need one of those like buttons that have like preset.
I do.
noises.
This program has it. It's
Like-
called the drop.
Do you have? I know,
Why
but I'm
aren't you
saying,
using
do you have the one
Are
with
you still there?
like porn stars just like
Yeah, we're here.
orgasming? And you need one.
What? You mean a soundboard?
Yeah, I need one. I need one of those.
No, you don't.
So
need one of
whenever
those.
I get announced, like that has to be going off because that's just how the lady. I'm done.
So we need.
Shawn,
I'm
So
glad-
every time he pushes a button, all you're gonna do is hear from Ocarina of Time. Hey!
We're like, yeah, and now we just like listen.
Listen.
What I can do is go back through the episode, and every time you do speak, just make like a very not loud, but the moaning, but very very low, like maybe like 10 decibels lower, and then so you just barely hear it with the volume maxed out. Stop this. So Shawn, what's our main topic?
We're just gonna discuss the games that we feel have been the biggest step forward in the right direction for gaming. And it doesn't matter what your grounds are. It could be anything. It could be because of forwarding gender equality or moving the variety of things in a game forward, or opening up how we play a game or how we play games with people, or maybe it's accomplished something. But any kind of games that we've been playing within recallable memory, at least, that we feel have really moved gaming forward in some way, shape, or form in a direction we feel gaming should be going.
So you don't want to set any sort of borders as the time.
No, not at all. No, I think different perceptions and moving forward is important too.
You really have a wide open door there.
Yeah,
I mean, I would say like, because obviously you can see
wide
the
open doors are good,
distinction and what video games were. Let's even a decade ago, even as little as 5 years ago, and how like so many things have changed.
Well, let's say within the last, like, say 10 years, I guess. But
Okay.
I mean, any you feel that you've played that really moved gaming forward. If it's going to be an older game, I still think that it's worth mentioning.
I think 10 years is a good range.
No, that's a great.
Because that's
great gap.
2007, and
Yeah.
we're not going back into
Yeah,
retro
that's
games.
fair enough.
All right, so within the last 10 years,
Where games like are still like their series now, like Halo or something like that, and like how like Call of Duty back then too, when it was like in such a peak. Well, I mean, I would say still is before my bias gets in there.
but do you think Call of Duty has done anything
That's what
for
I mean.
gaming as a whole?
Other than keeping a
Besides-
certain base of the same game, just progressively worse each time. No,
You mean keeping the same death animation for 4 iterations?
okay, so let's start with Call of Duty then. I think that's a great way to start, especially if we're keeping within a decade range. Because let's see, 2007. What Call of Duty?
I got you.
There we
you.
go.
Keep
We have
talking.
technology here, guys. Off the back of my head, I want to say 2007. I want to say Halo 3 came out around 07. So what Halo 3? What the Call of Duty game came out then?
Just keep talking. I got you.
I know. I'm trying to like just. Sean, help me here.
All right,
Save
here,
me.
wait. For games in
I think if you just
2007.
talk
Wait.
about games that have come out recently that relatively recently, you'll be fine. I don't think keeping it.
Well, the idea is like where we're starting if we're going back a decade. So in 2007, we had Call of Duty 4, BioShock, Halo 3, Super Mario Galaxy, the first Assassin's Creed,
What a year.
Guitar Hero 3.
Wow. See, no, so 07 was a great year for some pretty good games.
The first Mass Effect.
Yeah.
that should give people a pretty good
The B-movie
grasp of
game?
where we're-
Exactly.
I mean,
time
come
frame.
on.
Because now look at today. How many out of those games? Which of those have lived on and like continue to give
The first
good
Crackdown.
product, and which have stopped? I mean, Guitar Hero is like shit now. I mean, they try to
Yeah.
revamp, but I mean, it was not. Guitar Hero was short lived. First of all, I feel it
Yeah.
was a fast burn. It was a bright, fiery like inferno. I thought I was very passionate about that game. It was really cool. I mean, that game was.
I was gonna say, it
You made
sounds like
you
you're
feel like a
talking
rock
about a
star. It was
person.
again that the way how that style was. They made a plastic guitar. They're like, how do we simplify this but make you feel like you're really playing something, but not really playing it, you know? All right, here, let's just throw some buttons here on the neck, and then to strum, because, you know, we're not going to use real strings, we'll make this little pad that you flip up and down like a certain amount of times, depending how fast the song is, you know? But that was pretty new. That was a great idea, I thought. And then you could even use the regular controller, but, like, you know, I mean, that wasn't that much fun. But how many more games came out after 3? I mean, like, because they have the new one now where it's like
I think Guitar Hero 3 was the peak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I
then they
think Rock
start.
Band was
Really,
the peak
Rock
of
Band
Guitar
too.
Hero. I think that did something because it really gave people. It was like the ultimate party game, especially people. who
Rock
were
Band
drunk.
isn't Guitar Hero.
No, yeah, but it's in the same vein, man. Guitar Hero did the same thing. Eventually, they copied it and brought out instruments.
Yeah.
But I like how
World Tour.
they really
Remember
kind
that.
of brought together playing together in a kind of a different way than people are used to.
Yeah, I feel you.
You know, everybody's got their own rhythm game. They're playing the drums guy, the vocalist guy. Like I was on the mic a lot, doing Rock
Ooh.
Band and the Guitar Hero one with the instruments.
Sean, give us a rendition right
I
now.
could see Shawn doing Rain and Blood.
Numb by Linkin Park. Wait, what? Were you gonna
No,
Too soon.
Not
It's not too soon. This is a memorial service.
No.
Everyone,
I
please.
can't.
Oh, well, since
Don't
you
make
brought
me
that up
cry.
real quick, let's have a moment of
Is
silence
that why
for
you've been so quiet?
Sean
Chester.
can't emit silence. It's impossible for him.
Well, we have to.
Yeah.
All right,
No,
give it 5 seconds. All right, moment of silence for what's his name, Chester.
All right, buddy. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
I love you.
He was cool.
Yeah.
I liked that one song they did.
They.
What did you just say? How dare
That's
you.
kind of how Linkin Park was for me. I mean, I
Yeah,
was never
I like
huge,
that one song that they did.
But I had.
No, I was a huge
when they were older,
fan.
Their
but
old stuff,
recent,
yeah.
I didn't
They
really.
became more poppy, but I mean, they had some catchy stuff. And
I like.
I don't think they ever weren't pop culture, man. They were always mainstream, but
No, he
They
meant
brought
he
a lot
meant
of
music.
music.
interesting
They're
elements
not
to
like
mainstream.
how it was like almost new metal, NU, not NEW, but like it's just like a branch of rock.
he means that they sounded more
Yeah, their
pop,
sound. They're more. Yeah, now they're more poppy. They're like they have that more pop sound to
upbeat
it.
kind
yeah.
of thing going with
Yeah,
him.
it's not as like.
I
Yeah,
haven't noticed any strong pop elements. I've just noticed that they're very. I mean, in terms of making catchy hooks and
Well, what I mean
memorable
is like
bridges
listen
and stuff
to
like
their
that,
first few
yeah.
albums and then listen to like let's say their last album now that like they're going on tour right now for. You'll see the difference. It's very clear.
Yeah.
They were
It's a lot more
on
instrumental
tour.
back then, and now it's. I mean, they still do it, but it's like it's a lot. It's just more. I don't know, bubble gum poppy ish. But yeah.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. But I guess I don't know. Just
Oh, what sucks is he left 6 kids behind. That's the part
That too.
really
off of
sucks.
2 marriages, yeah. He was and he was young too. He was
When
only
you
like
have
40.
children,
He was 41.
Be able to make those choices, and even when you don't have children, when you make the choice to off yourself, there are all these people that suffer and have no choice in the matter. It's one thing when God, Mother Nature, whatever it is, takes you from this world and the rest of us have to deal with it. But when you have a choice and you choose to leave and leave that shit on other people, that's something I have a hard time forgiving. And one of my best friends killed himself, and I'm still angry over it.
Yeah.
You know, it makes me angry because you are doing the biggest of disservices, the biggest of harm to the people around you. And to me, that feels awfully selfish because your world is so dark and miserable, you're going to dip everyone else into it too. And that part is what makes me angry. You know what? Swallow your fucking suffering and get help.
But Shawn, let's not delve
Back
into
to video games.
Yeah, let's not delve into I do agree with you.
Let's go back to
yeah,
video
let's not
games,
delve
but
into that
that's
too much because it get really dark.
Yeah, it's the kids part that bothers me.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But yeah,
it's hard.
no,
I understand.
I think I agree with you. Like Rock Band definitely made us look, and Guitar Hero made us look at video games a bit differently. Rhythm games had always been something where you just tapped buttons before, and essentially it still was, but you didn't feel like you were tapping buttons. You felt like you were playing something, and that made that illusion alone really went a long ways to sell the game.
Do we have anything from like the last year or two that we think that's doing?
Oh hell yeah, dude! The game we both love that all of a sudden my brain's farting and forgetting the name. Yeah, Nier.
I was gonna say that too.
I think Nier is doing what I've been wanting games to do for a long time, and it's bringing all of the different elements that really make a game enjoyable and rolling them into something that makes the entire game, like, you never know what's coming around the next curve. You don't know how it's going to play out, but you're constantly on your toes. You're constantly enjoying, thinking about the next challenge. And every part of that game is enjoyable. Every piece of it has you enjoying what you're doing. You're never thinking about how much time you've been spending playing it. Or the only way I can describe it is it does what I used to love. None of the video games I play right now, none of them, 100%. Do what I love about games. There's always like, it gets stale, or I need to take a break from it, or I get bored, or whatever. My attention span, it shrunk a little bit since I was fucking 12. And Nier I never get bored. I'm always excited to see what happens next. Anytime I put the controller down, it's not like a happy, like, oh man, I'm something else now. It's like it's always like I got to pry it out of my hands a little bit. And I think it doesn't try and educate you. It's not trying to bring some sort of wholesome point, but I think that Nier takes everything that's the best about video games in terms of entertainment wise and rolls it all up into a game and doesn't care what you think about it. It's going to do it. It's not going to give you one thing like most games have been doing for the past 10, 20 years.
And it's going to give you a waifu that you're going to fall in love with one way or another.
Am I the only one that doesn't like Nier all that much?
What, Automata? You
Yeah.
played like an hour of it.
Yeah, and I couldn't get into it.
You got to play more of it.
So of it. I thought it was pretty good. Caitlyn, I think you just have a terrible taste.
Well, she likes
I told you
Persona.
before, man.
It
reminds me a lot of what they used to try and do with games, and they kind of stopped that. And I like the fact that Nier's kind of trying to bring that back.
What were you going to say, Ken?
I like very linear games.
Look up when you talk.
I like very linear games. I
Yeah.
like being told what to do. And I
Yeah,
don't know,
she's
Nier,
not. She's not about that.
Yeah.
That she still won't play Breath of the Wild for that reason. Although it's a good game.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I like being
And
told
she
what
has
to do.
all the time in the world to play Breath of the Wild because it's on the Switch, and I'm not hogging the PS4 all day. So she should.
Don't get me wrong, Caitlyn. I'm with you. I hate the whole open world, aimless plot games that plague the systems. But
I don't think Nier's like that though.
I think that I don't think Breath of the Wild has as much of a problem with that as things like Skyrim do.
I don't know. I really
It's
enjoy
not as-
Skyrim.
Don't you dare talk bad about Skyrim.
Yeah, I really like
I'll
Skyrim.
rip your
when I
fucking
played
throat
it.
out, Shawn.
You just said I like it when they tell me what to do, and Skyrim doesn't tell you to do dick. Skyrim's like, here, go do stuff, and that's about the last bit of instructions you get in that game.
I don't know. It's weird.
That is very weird.
She's a gamer girl, guys.
I played.
She's a gamer
It's been a
girl.
long time since I played Skyrim.
What do you mean a gamer girl?
A gamer girl.
Or like,
Shawn.
she take a picture and she's like, I'm not like normal, like ordinary girls. She's like, I'm about to play some Xbox. She has a
I'm about to
fucking
play some
GameCube controller in her
Xbox.
hand.
Yeah. It's a Nintendo 64
Like, has like the cord
controller.
in her mouth.
Oh,
You have a whole conversation about the sexuality of video games and whatnot, and we
That
have all
next
this
week
enlightening, open-minded conversation. And then the very next
back
week,
to square
she's a
one.
gamer girl.
No,
Square one.
no, I'm not.
Are you a gamer girl?
The next week, guys, join us next week. We'll be talking about the evil that is Twitch titty streamers.
Oh my god.
That's a great topic. But what else? I mean, what is it?
Doesn't record back there.
What is it? I'm sorry. I was actually as I was reading.
I like what I'm not a big fan of the game itself, but I like what GTA 5 did with all the free content. I think that's forward thinking. I think that's a bigger deal than people make it out to be, mainly because they take every chance they can to nickel and dime you for the tiniest of things. You spend $40 on content that's free 6 months later, or you spend like $5 on something that provides you for like 15 minutes of whatever. I mean, they really do, in video gaming, especially in the last decade, the microtransactions and the additional incidentals are vicious, and a lot of times you don't get the full experience without them, which is bullshit. And instead, GTA 5 gives you a full and complete game for $60. They give you an online MMO to play with your friends, free. And then they produce content for it for what, 4 or 5 years? For free. Ass loads of content. That to me, even though I'm not a huge fan of the game, I enjoy it from time to time. That to me is extremely forward thinking, and I like when it comes to Nier, it was just the gameplay. I thought the gameplay was beautiful, and we need more of that. And we just don't have as much of that as we'd like to. And I think with GTA, it's the whole business model. We're going to give you a quality game. We're going to give you a quality game. We're going to give you an online component for free. And we're going to give you 4 years worth of content for free. And the response we get is you keep buying our game. We still make money off of it because people tell you, hey, all this stuff is free. It's good. They're doing it the right way. I'm not saying that selling content is bad. I'm not saying that the annual passes are bad. I'm just saying that I think it's gotten out of hand, and I think that we get taken advantage of. And I think there's a difference between good purchases and bad purchases. And there's a lot of bad purchases out there that are kind of almost unavoidable sometimes. And
you want to hear a bad purchase? Just pre-ordering Aliens, Clone of Marines. Don't ever do that.
Are we still?
I pre-ordered it and I canceled it. I saved myself at the last minute.
I couldn't save myself. I was already in a deep ass hole. I dug myself in.
Are we gonna? So we've already uttered one of the cardinal sins. What about we got No Man's Sky?
Mm-hmm. So
felt a brain cell die.
I feel like in today's society with games now, and like kind of like what you were saying, Shawn, with. Does it to you guys? Do you feel the video games today are made not with as much heart? I'm not saying like a lot of developers put in a lot of time, but when it goes to releasing a game, and sometimes these games aren't even, you don't get the full content, and it's like, hey, you pay $60 to get a game that has limited ability as to what you can do, and then it's like, here, now buy this season pass, this DLC, because hey, we just want to make some more money off. Do you feel like
I think
you're getting robbed? It's like there's not enough heart into these games.
I think a thing about it,
just to make more money, is what I feel.
On top of that, technically, but as well as in the past with gaming, we've gotten a kind of an expectation. Like, this game is supposed to last us this long for this price, right? But if you look back at retro gaming, a lot of the way that they buffered for time for giving you a full experience is they made the games hard as shit. Right, because they had software limitations. They could only do so much with the game. It depends on the game. A lot of JRPGs they made it difficult, not through mechanics or jumping around or stuff like that, but it was through difficulty, through strategy or making you grind or something like that. They buffered for time in different ways. Now we have easier games, but there's constantly an expectation of more content being produced for it. Like, this game is an open world RPG. This game's supposed to last me 40 to 50 hours. And then these developers are like, people get mad with them if they have a open world RPG that's been promised that way and it only lasts 10 hours long. So the problem is it's not, I don't think it's that although there is a problem with some people or some companies making products that are incomplete, I wouldn't say there's a heart issue, because I think every developer wants their game to do well and puts a lot of love into their products.
I don't think it's all of them put love into it. I don't think Ubisoft does.
Maybe the company as a whole doesn't give a shit about their products, but I think the developer teams behind them are passionate about. Because I don't think you could sit there for that long and make something without putting some ounce of passion into it, because you wouldn't be able to.
I think it depends on the project, to be honest. Because I've talked to. Remember how about a month ago we had Antony and his girlfriend on, and his girlfriend is working on software design, game design for phones, and we had a conversation somewhat similar to this, where we were talking about it.
Yeah, I was thinking of that too.
And she agreed that gaming does kind of need to get back to its heart. It used to be about the community, and it was about the love of the characters and the enjoyment of the game, and it's kind of gotten away from that in some ways. And granted, some of that's perceptual and waxing poetic for days gone by and blah, 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 blah. But I agree with Tyler. There's something that I think we've lost. And I think every now and then we get it back. I'm with you, man. I was saying something similar. I agree that there's something we've lost, but I don't think it's completely gone, because I still feel it every now and then. I still feel it in certain games.
There's moments, and there are some games, yeah. Like, I would definitely say Dark Souls is one of those games. Like, I definitely get my money's worth off of that game, of any of those.
And when it comes to time, Kyle, there was a paradigm shift in that a few years back. Like, when stepping outside of our conversation for a moment, back during the days of Nintendo, you were right. Like, there was a lot of struggle with memory. So when to make games longer, they would either reuse a bunch of shit. And like RPGs, not so much. You could still have 20, 40 hour plus RPGs with an 8-bit game. I played through the entire Dragon Warrior series on Nintendo, and a lot of those games took a lot of time. But a lot of it was just leveling up and grindy and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the Final Fantasies. You could create a long game without needing a lot of graphical output. But when it came to platformers and such, they didn't really do that so much. But when you got into the Super Nintendo era, you had a lot more. What's the word I'm looking for? The memory, the graphics, the whole 9 yards took a big leap, and things changed. And you had games on the regular, any kind of fantasy RPG-ish type game, and it could be an action RPG like Zelda, which was more adventure and action than it was actual role-playing. It really wasn't role-playing at all, like Illusion of Gaia or any of the Zelda games or things of that nature, or on PlayStation with Alundra and Alundra 2. You had 40-plus hour games, and they were 40-plus hours just because there was a lot of content, and you would spend, your average, which is between $50 to $70, depending on what system you're buying this stuff for, on these games, and get your money's worth. And then when it shifted into the PlayStation 1 era, again, you had these really long games. And PlayStation 2, you were still getting – time was a big thing, and they were trying to make the biggest game they possibly could. But when you shifted from PS2 to PS3, there was also a gradual shift near the end of the PS2's life cycle into the PS3, where we went from having games that were 20, 30, 40-plus hours to an average of 6 to 10 hours per game. And something happened with the consumers, and this is our fault partially, because I read several articles on this in actual paper magazines that were reporting on it, industry magazines and online. And you can still go on and research this, where for some reason consumers stopped wanting long games. They were losing interest in long games, and there were complaints about, is this game ever going to be over? Kind of like when you go to see a fucking Peter Jackson movie. Like, somebody's always like, all right, when does the movie end? And I personally, I want a long movie because I just spent $16 or $12 or whatever on the movie ticket. I'll fucking sit here all day as long as the movie's good. I don't mind it being long, but a lot of people don't want long movies. Well, there was a lot of gamers, apparently an overwhelming amount, that were complaining about the length of games. And developers were like, fuck it. We save money, we save time, and we get the games out quicker if we don't have to put that much content in. So you saw this drastic reduction in how long it took to complete games. And this was for a long time. This was like early to mid 2000s until about 3-4 years ago, when they started to have a backlash and they started to create longer games finally. I mean, and granted, there's no clear-cut definition of time. This is just my recollection of things. but it was a gradual shift into shorter games and then a gradual shift out of shorter games. And still, when most of the games that you buy, like fucking, you know, any game that's out there right now, adventure, action, fighting, I don't care what it is, most of them you're going to beat in under 10 hours. All of your Call of Duties under 10 hours. Most of your first-person shooters are under 10 hours. And the only ones that end up going longer are ones where they took the time to do extra content, or if they're just really difficult. It's not the meta hasn't changed that much. They still, a lot of them, like for instance the Metro series, the reason why Metro took me longer than 10 hours is because that shit's not easy. Especially when I being an idiot and putting it on hard like I did, and there's no fucking gas masks anywhere.
Yeah, did you do there's like the different game modes too, where it's like survival, or you can just do more like shooter based. I forgot what it was called.
Yeah.
Like ammo and health is more
Like
scars.
Yeah.
True
scares.
hunter.
I did it on Survivor. The first one was when they first made them, they didn't have modes. So the first one was basically on Survivor mode, and the second game when they made it was on shooter mode.
Yeah, when they
By
did
those descriptions. But when they
redo,
revamped them,
yeah,
they
yeah.
gave you the choice. And I did both of them in Survivor, and it was a pain in the fucking ass. But I enjoyed it. But that's another one, Metro. I think Metro really forwarded the first-person shooting thing because they really brought it back to a tight narrative. And I think the best shooters I've played are ones where they have a really strong narrative, which is why I think Halo was carried as far as it was when Bungie ran it, was because the narrative was so strong. And I think Metro really did a good. I think it was the best possible way you could take a graphic novel of that type and turn it into a game. Because I read the books, and the books are really good. And then when you
novel,
go
I thought it
from
was just a regular like.
No, it was a comic book. Yeah, it was comics. It was two graphic novels. They may have done a novelization, but I read graphic novels for it.
I think it was a novel, originally,
yeah, it was
and then it
original
turned
novel.
into a graphic novel.
Yeah.
Shawn.
I mean, like in those
That's
games
possible,
too.
but I read it in graphic novel form, and it was really good. And I think those games transition that because it's abysmal, dude. The world of Metro is horrible.
But it's awesome.
And so you have this one dude who's like, I think, what is he, 18 or 19 when this happens?
Yeah, our team is like
And then-
really young.
Yeah, and then he ends up pretty much annihilating an innocent race. And it's a good story, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point is like most of your games are short because they decided that gamers have a short attention span and lose interest in games after 10 hours.
I didn't.
Why.
When I said, I didn't mean that in like a gameplay sense. I mean that how much you're getting out of it. Because Call of Duty may be short, you could be under 10 hours, but you'll still get 40 to 100 hours of playtime in its multiplayer. That's what I'm referring to.
If you enjoy multiplayer, that's true.
Well, if you're gonna buy a Call of Duty game, it's probably because you enjoy multiplayer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, some people don't even play the story at all.
Yeah, a lot of people just buy it.
A
And
lot
play.
of them don't, man. They go straight into competitive. I went into Call of Duty from Medal of Honor, and the strength of Medal of Honor was always their narrative in the story, because it always followed a very historically accurate, but Spielberg-esque, movie-ish kind of plot. And so, like, I really loved the first, second, and third Medal of Honor. I loved the one on PS2, or when you stormed Normandy and you went on the beaches and all the explosions were so it was so cinematic. I really loved those. And when Medal of Honor kind of took a dip in quality, when Spielberg took a step back, I transitioned into Call of Duty. I did World at War. That one was pretty decent. I liked the campaign. But then when they did Modern Warfare, the narrative took a dump, and it was all about the online, stuff. And
I thought the Modern Warfare, at least the first two campaigns were good. I didn't care too much about the third one, but I thought the first two were.
I might be thinking of the third one. I remember there was a lot of plane sequences in the first two.
A lot of people
or
like the
airborne
first two.
sequences to break it up. But I did like the Black Ops one. I thought they were interesting. But again, I don't know. They kind of lost something for me story wise when they transitioned from World War III to the Modern Warfare stuff. I don't think that those are bad games by any means. But there was a certain sense of adventure. I think they just got so serious. Don't get me wrong. The World War II stuff was super serious. Let us not forget what it was about, But and what happened.
Well, if you ask Sledgehammer, they want to forget.
You still have. you still have a really fun. I hate to say this, but you have a fun adventure through history. You get to be this hero taking down the bad guys, kind of thing, and it felt very filmic. And I didn't get that feeling from the other ones. The other ones were just harsh and serious the whole fucking time. And whereas in the World War II, it was harsh, but I was still watching it through the lens of a Spielberg movie.
Yeah.
I was still watching it like I was watching, almost like and I know this sounds retarded, but it's a video game, so roll with me on this, like a hybrid between what you'd feel watching an Indiana Jones movie and then what you'd feel watching Saving Private Ryan. I was like somewhere in between those two mentalities when I was playing World at War. So and Modern Warfare was just so much uglier because it was more real to our world and the world we're living in, and it tried to take prevalent issues, and that was an escapism for me at that point. This was more me playing a fictional version of the news, and I think maybe that was it. It just didn't jive with me.
Yeah,
I didn't feel like it was a step forward they said it was going to be. I know it was, and I'm not knocking y'all's love for it. It's treasured by a lot of people for good reasons. It just never captured me.
All right, so we're coming down to the line here. So we're gonna go.
Let's get back on topic here. Like, what games do you guys feel?
Bitch, what did I just say?
Really are moving things forward. I know that's why
Wolfenstein.
Okay. All right. Well, why Wolfenstein?
Okay.
I have to go to work.
I have to take a nap.
No, we're good.
We're good.
It was. I thought it was. I don't know. You know what? That was my first time playing. I've heard so much about it for a while, and then I finally bought them. The New Order and the Old Blood, not really knowing what I was getting myself into. What it was that I thought was really cool, and it more of a personal reason for myself was like one of the trailers I saw was like Jimi Hendrix playing the Star Spangled Banner inside Berlin, Germany, and it actually gets shot. I mean, like it's a little bit of a spoiler, but the game came out a couple years ago, so not really. I was like, well, that was kind of badass. I was like, what kind of theme of does this game have? And I did a little more. I looked into the descriptions, did some history, I read into the series itself too, and it's been around for I want to say the 90s or even the 80s or something like that.
Oh yeah,
they had. I mean, the Wolfenstein has been around. This isn't their first game, but this is more of a revamped series because there's been a few developers that have. I don't know if bought out the game or whatever. I think it was IB or IV or something like that. And Bethesda
Studio worked on the original. The people might have changed around, but id developed.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, so there were several. There were handfuls of games prior of Wolfenstein, and a lot of it centralized around the character. Was it BJ Blazkowicz? I think it was. And
always BJ.
Yeah, and he was the main badass guy. He was just American guy, and the whole the story of the Germans taking over and them winning. So they put a twist on it. And I don't know what other games have done that. I thought that was a great idea for a concept. It's what if Nazi Germany what if they won the war and then we lost? How would life be after that? How menacing, how shitty of a world would we possibly live in? These people are living in terror, and there's all these people trying to revolt, and then eventually just getting stomped on by the Nazi war machine, and you are this character who's just they're deprived of everything, but they're this small group and they're trying to fight back and trying to win, and it's it feels like there's no hope in sight because of such a superpower that they portray the Nazis as. I mean, this is they had advanced technology and stuff like that. There was a mission where you went to the moon.
So in all purposes of not being an ass, but how do you think Wolfenstein has pushed the boundary when it comes to games? First person, first person shooter genre. Just so we're not explaining what Wolfenstein is. We're explaining
I
what
was going that way
Wolfenstein has done. Yeah.
I definitely liked the story for what it was. It was something different that many other games didn't have. It had a lot of cool moments of suspense, along with it being kind of just a mowed down shooter. though, but like it wasn't bland. There was
Tight narrative.
Yeah,
that was interesting.
It was very, very cool. I mean, I don't.
You did make it sound really good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a good
No,
game.
I mean, all joking aside, like if a game can have that kind of reaction, that's the kind of reaction I'm talking about games missing. Like I hear Kyle play games and he gets into it, but it's not often he's like, oh my gosh, and wow, but it happens, dude. When he was playing Nier, he joygasmed over the microphone enough to where I think I got some of it in my ear.
It gave seeping through the mic.
So when you hear that kind of excitement, when a game brings that out in somebody, that's special.
Yeah, well, what I feel is like the people who made that game like must have really enjoyed making that game. Like just the final product and what this new one's going to be too. Hopefully it lives up to the potential. It just they look like they really put something well together, and they really enjoyed it to making this like badass of a game overall.
Okay, so Caitlyn, do you have any game that you've played in the past couple years that you think has pushed a boundary when it comes to games? Something that you'd like gaming to withhold going forward? Anything along those lines?
Anything that looks like it's pushing gaming in the direction you want to see it go.
How about you think about it real quick, Caitlyn, and I'll talk about Nier real quick, and then we'll have Shawn say something, then we'll come back to you, okay?
Well, I know what I'm gonna say.
You know what you're going to say?
Yeah.
Then say it into the microphone. Look at me like dumbfounded.
I always thought of Fallout for some reason. I don't know. I've just always had a special place in my heart for Fallout for some reason.
But what do you think that it has done either to you or to the formula that is game design that you'd want to see stand going forward? That's the idea. So something again, we could come back to you, but something from Fallout that you think impacted you enough to a point where you'd want to see it show up again in a future game. Do you want us to come back to you?
No. I'm not a dumbass.
Well, I'm not saying you're a dumbass, but it is something that's sprung on like real quick, and if you don't have time to think about it, I'm saying we're also running on a time frame here.
How much time do we have?
It's already 2 hours in.
Well, I like this from Fallout was the dialogue options. That you had a lot of choice there, and I think Fallout 4 was they apparently increased the amount of dialogue compared to the Fallout 3 like 100 times over, where you can have a lot more, I guess, conversational scenarios. I thought that was pretty cool because that there's not a whole lot of other games that I can think of, at least that I've played in the past, where you don't have those choices to make all these. There's like these 4 to 6 I think different conversational options you can pick from with different dialogue outcomes, which I thought was pretty cool. You felt more interaction in a game that way. I felt.
What about you, Ken? What do you think?
Kind of took the words out.
Damn.
Was that the idea?
Well, yeah.
I was trying to buy Caitlyn some time.
So you think it's like the immersion brought through how much control you have over the story?
Yeah.
So you'd want to see something like that going forward?
Yeah.
Okay. So sometimes you just can't formulate it into words. Okay, I'm going to talk about Nier real quick, and then we'll have Shawn give us an example. So for Nier, I think what I want to see going forward... The hell did you just do? For what I want to see going forward is when it comes to... I want to see not the abandonment of older things, but a kind of like a unique evolve, kind of like something. And so what I think Nier does a good job of that, where it creates.
Yeah, I'd say that.
It's a mash of what we've had in the past with side-scrolling shooters, side-scrolling beat-em-ups, to a 3D beat-em-up in a world that's been designed, telling a story that's interesting with characters that are relatable. I think what Nier does is it mashes what we've come to love from old games into a new experience that we can enjoy, where we don't say that exactly like, oh, this came from that. Oh, geez, that this came from that, and that I've seen all this before. Like, exactly. It's kind of mashing that into a new experience. I'd want to see more of that going into the future. I want to see more of not exactly complete copies of stuff that we've seen before, but a meld based in a new experience. That's something I want to see. I don't know exactly how people would do that, because I didn't know that was possible until Nier came around, and then I found that this is well designed and well done. I like that.
You got a point, dude, because that kind of stuff hasn't existed on that level since the PlayStation 2 Xbox era. I mean, the big black Xbox. And prior, when they were really going between the PlayStation and PlayStation 2 with the 3D games and taking things to the next level, there was a lot of missteps. But there was a lot of really good experiments that gave us these big hunks of awesomeness that we could chew on. And it's kind of weakened off since then. So I agree with you 100%. They took things that have been done before and they took it forward into current technology and current ideas and how video games are played.
So what do you think, Shawn? An example of something that as we progress that you want to stick?
You know what? I played this game on Wii called The Last Story, and I think it falls into the time frame. So I think that's what I'll mention. Because there was a bunch of really amazing games that came out for the Wii near the end of its life cycle that nobody played because, you know, smart people weren't touching the freaking Wii. But The Last Story came out, and it was made by a collection of different guys that had worked on a bunch of different pieces of software. Now, Xseed produced it, but it had a lot of like former Square employees on the team. Uematsu did the music. Sakaguchi helped make the game. It was a Sakaguchi game. It was his baby.
It was 2012, so you're within the time frame.
Okay, cool. And the game, there's a few flaws in the story. Like it's one of those things where it spends a lot of time doing character development and relationship development in the story. So the plot itself really picks up on the last third of the game almost too fast, like in some of the animes we've watched. But it does something that I don't get to see a lot these days in current RPGs, you know, except for some of the JRPG ones that are right off the boat, like Persona. But in American RPGs especially, where there's not this tender love of the story. And you see these different relationships from jump. It's not an existing franchise, so you don't have anywhere to start from. So you start with all new characters, and it's quite literally like reading a really good book. You're introduced to characters, you get to know them, you get to see their interactions with each other. It takes time to build the world, to build these people, to show you the world that they live in and how it functions. And they're fully living, breathing city around you. A little bit like Final Fantasy 12 was, where it was like that imitation, that faux MMO feel, where there was NPCs constantly walking around making purchases, going somewhere else. You might see the same guy in different parts of town. There's a market and a coliseum and a living district, and there's all these back alleys and restaurants and stores you can go into, and you really feel immersed in that world. And I think that the attention to detail and the love they gave the characters really portrayed this beautiful story. And you got to play through this adventure and the tragedies and the triumphs, and it was just so well crafted that I wish we had more of that. And the only other thing I could think of would be Beyond Good and Evil, and I think that goes beyond my time reference. And I think we need more Beyond Good and Evils. I think we need more games like that, immersive, fun stories. You know, they might have a point to them. You know, they might be able to move you. You've got characters that you care about. It's a rousing adventure. When I picked up Beyond Good and Evil, I thought it was going to be trash. I thought it was just going to be because the character design was gooftastic. And then the more I played it, the better it got, to the point where I really felt immersed and I cared about the world. And I beat Beyond Good and Evil in one night. I played that shit all night. I didn't put the controller down. That's how much fun I had. And that hasn't happened to me often. So, I mean, those two games would probably be my two champions, two underdogs. The Last Story, if anybody out there has a Wii, you owe it to yourself to go and get that game. You'll probably end up having to do multiple playthroughs because there's a lot of choices and things that you might miss if you're not paying attention. And each choice you make affects what story you see, unless you've got like a strategy guide or something. And then Beyond Good and Evil, God, man, I hope they really set on PSN. I'm still waiting. They did it for the PlayStation 3, but they haven't brought it out on PS4 yet. But it's, again, it's the love of the characters. It's a really good story. It's a gameplay that you really truly enjoy, and it's somebody that's trying to tell you. You remember both of these games, one of them more to the teen in me, the other more to the kid me. But when you were a kid and you sat down on Saturday morning and you couldn't wait to see the next story in your favorite cartoon show that had an ongoing plot, and you stuck that thing beginning to end, and you were sad when it was over. These two games are like that. Just one's a little bit more mature than the other one. But they both kind of have that feel, and I'm very addicted to story. And whereas the gameplay in Beyond Good and Evil is more platforming and arcadey and a bit simpler, and then when you have the combat and gameplay in the last story, it's a little bit more dynamic and complex and requires more strategy. I think they were both just finely crafted games. They were perfect.
All right. Sounds good.
I just want to see more of that.
Shawn really makes you think about caring about games like that.
I really care, dude. As much as it sounds ridiculous, I'm a pop culture junkie, but I also live through it. I don't get to get out much due to money problems and family problems and things of that nature. So a lot of my experience these days, coming from somebody who I'm an extrovert. I used to go out with friends all the time, parties, concerts, picnics, theme parks, whatever. I was constantly staying busy. And when I wasn't out, I was watching anime or playing games. And that was my escapism for when I was at home. And so when I go home and I play a game, I want something that's going to occupy my imagination. It's going to make me think, but I'm also going to feel something. I don't watch movies just to see something disposable. Sometimes it's fun to watch a shitty horror movie and make fun of it. But most of the time, I want to watch a movie where I'm going to like the story. I'm going to care about the characters, and what happens is going to affect me emotionally. And both of those games on different ways did. The last story affected me extremely emotionally, like watching a very potent, but amazing movie. And the other one was more comic book style. But it also affected me. Both of them brought out a lot of joy, a lot of entertainment, and really involved me in what was happening. And how many games can you think of, Wolfenstein excluded, that involved your emotions in what was happening on the screen, and how much of it was just, okay, it was cool, let's see what I can blow up next. Michael Bay,
Boom. Yeah, that's true. There's not a whole lot. Like, right. I mean, at least I can think of right now. But and then Kyle here is trying to give me the shoulder here, like, hey,
yeah,
gotta wrap it up.
And if I could, I'd kick Shawn in the nuts.
I would honestly like to talk a little bit more about this, but I mean, maybe we can for another time. Yeah, for the next podcast.
We'll do a part 2. Maybe if we can get together for After Dark, we can talk about it more.
Yeah, right. If only we did something like that the other day. Shawn's like,
if only, right? I mean, I remember getting together. I'm not sure what happened.
We need to change the time that we do that. I don't think we could do it 12 to 1 because I have issues recording with my father.
Did you pass out? Because that was my guess.
No, it's my father moving around at night, so we got to figure out a different time to do that. All right, cool. That was episode 12.
Yeah.
Good job, everybody.
Nice.
Thank you all for tuning in and listening to us ramble about stupid shit for 2 hours. I appreciate it. If you like our content, go ahead, hit that subscribe, click that bell for more. And if you want to talk with us, you could either go on our Discord, even hit us up on Twitter, or leave a comment down in the YouTube shit below, all that stuff. And again, thank you for tuning in. And this was episode 12 of the Thought Patrol podcast. Can we get a little sign off from everybody? Maybe?
Peace!
All right, guys. Have a good one, all right?
How about you, Shawn?
Kisses and all your pink parts.
There it is. You all have a beautiful week.
Oh, I gotta think of a better one.